You need a great opener, like somehow we're adults. Do.
We can record that right
some
now.
Some kind of like.
We can record that right now.
Everybody be quiet.
Somehow we're adults.
They do well in the wash. Because that's one thing. Like, I don't mind these. Like, they fit really nice and they feel good. Like, but after a few washes, they get a little. Yeah. So usually, I just like if I'm in Express and they have like a deal.
Yeah.
Then I'll just. I
think my wife washes them, but she doesn't dry them.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think that is the key to keeping.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Like, if she tells me to move it to the dryer, I do it. But
Yeah.
I fucking hate doing laundry.
Oh, I'm not bad with laundry.
I hate folding it.
Yeah.
Folding is another story.
Folding, yeah. I miss. I lived in a one-bedroom podcast. I'm thinking about the podcast. I said I was ready to jump in right away, but I guess I haven't talked on a mic in a while. When I had a one-bedroom, doing the laundry, like I didn't have a washer and dryer, and then doing it at like whatever the apartment laundry area, doing like 3 loads at once, that was the move. Just like really dedicating like 2 hours to it and being done. I enjoy that much more than constantly washing clothes.
Because you could do that. You could use 3 washers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the move.
Yeah.
That would be the move. And it's all done in one day. Yeah, because we have to do like 3 different days.
Yeah.
Because,
I would do like
a lot of people.
I would do
it's
like
just my wife.
sheets and towels, like colors or lighter or darker colors and lighter colors. I just mix it up though. I don't know
Everything all in that bitch at one time.
Yeah, I don't. You got to worry about reds, but I feel like that's the only color you got to worry about.
That's the only dude way to do laundry.
A brand new shirt that's a color, okay.
Yeah.
But if I've washed them for a while, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the dude way to do it too. Because like I'm the same way. Like before my wife, like it was literally like everything, sheets, everything, towels, all in one, and then that was just how I did them. And occasionally I'd get some funky colors come out. And we just rolled with it. It's like, oh, new clothes.
Yeah. It's a nice light pink shirt you have.
Well, I don't wear white shirts.
Yeah. Oh, you don't?
No,
not at all?
no, I might have one that has white in it. I am so hard on all my clothes. I can't do it.
Wearing white is like, especially a t-shirt, sometimes it's a one wear only kind of situation.
Yeah, because a lot of this True Classic stuff sells are like packs of shirts, and if it has a white or any like if 3 of the shirts are lighter colors, I have to just pass.
Yeah,
I just can't do it because I'm going to destroy those 3 shirts and basically 2 to 3 times of me wearing them. So
you're living too hard of a lifestyle.
I just do. I don't know. I'm not good about picking the right clothes for the right things.
Okay.
Like we had a bonfire type thing. Well, we weren't even planning on having a fire Friday night.
Just had one. Yeah.
Yeah. We did like a. Long story short, we ended up doing like a birthday party for my buddy.
Okay.
And while we were out there, he has a 1-year-old, and she went to bed at like 8:30, and we're all just being rowdy and loud and shit. And he was like, "Okay, we all need to go outside." Well, it's what can you really do outside at night? So we kind of just was like, "Oh, I need to burn a bunch of boxes," and we got the fire pit, and we'll just burn all the shit we need to burn. And but he has like a truck outside of his house that he collects all his boxes in, and it's a project truck, so it doesn't have a motor in it. Long story short, we ended up pulling my truck over there, and we moved all the boxes that had been sitting there for months that were getting like dusty as hell. And so I was wearing one of my nicer black shirts because I didn't expect to be doing that. And next thing you know, I'm like covered in dust and stuff. And I walked inside. I didn't even realize I'd fucked up the shirt. I walked inside. My wife's like, "What the fuck are you doing? That's one of your nice shirts. Why are you doing this?" And I'm like, "I'm terrible." That's why.
Dude, that's country living, man. An impromptu bonfire.
Yeah.
I love that. I wish I had access. I wish to be like, man, what are we doing tonight? Let's just fucking light a fire. Let's go.
Dude,
yeah.
That's one of the best parts about like living where we do is like, you can just do that.
Yeah.
Like you can just like, oh, I got a new gun. We're going to walk outside and like shoot a couple times. You know what I mean?
Pop, pop.
Yeah, literally, dude. Like you hear, like, depending upon where you live, like, I don't know where you're living at anymore, but if you're living in like an apartment complex and you hear shots, you're about to hear sirens.
Oh, I live in Hyde Park. Like
okay,
cops are showing up if a gunshot goes off.
and where we live, like that's just somebody like firing their new rifle. Like, in most cases, so it's just like okay, whatever anymore about it.
I love that, man. I'd love to have some land that I could just go chill and just shoot.
Dude, it's nice having that breathing room. So you live in Hyde Park now?
Yeah, I live in Hyde Park.
Dude, how's
just
that?
city living, man. It's good. I like it for my lifestyle right now. I think if
Is he still on camera, by the way, Cole?
Yeah.
Okay. He's,
Oh, am I good? Are we recording now?
yeah, it's been
been-
recorded.
Oh, cool. We're just jumping into it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind scooting a little bit.
All right.
Perfect.
Yep, sorry. We need to get multiple cameras.
Yeah.
It's one of the things on the to-do list.
Dude, it's hard, man. You like build it all up, and then you get the multiple cameras, and then that puts a lot more on you. You're having to switch
switch back and forward.
Yeah, definitely. I'm assuming they're gonna have some AI stuff, and I know that. I think there is like a studio camera software. I was looking into it
There's
at one
one
point.
Based on the microphone talking, it switches the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how expensive something like that is, but
Yeah.
it's probably pretty expensive. But
It's all expensive once you start getting into multiple cameras.
It is.
Just the video switchers, like a cheap one's like $600.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, the world we live in.
Yeah.
Remember when podcasts were just podcasts?
Bro.
You didn't have to film it.
I know. But now to like be even, I say competitive, like I don't really, like, you know what I'm saying? To even be like a normal podcast that isn't just base level, you kind of almost have to have video. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you're not like clipping and sharing, it's just hard to get things really moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Or you have to already be a celebrity or have celebrities on your podcast, which is
yeah,
just, you know.
it's like it's a slow burn if you're doing it kind of the organic way. But
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to it, you just got to get the numbers in. And I know that's why like I think part of the reason we kind of got away from doing the podcast we had before was we just didn't have the time to dedicate and get the numbers and like really do the marketing, I guess, side of it.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like I think my mentality behind it is like I have to really enjoy it. And like, you know, it when I'm not doing the podcast, like there's been some times where like recently, because I'm working on getting my real estate license, and like
Okay.
I was spending so much time working on my real estate license that I was like, I have to give this all my focus right now. And like, I don't know, just be in the back of my mind, be like, man, I should be making clips for the podcast. Man, I really want to, like, it was just bothered the hell out of me that I wasn't doing the podcast. So that's how I knew that that's like, long-term wise, I need to keep just doing the podcast.
Yeah,
So,
if you're doing it, especially you have kind of like a fun setup. Like you get to come in here and kind of shoot the shit, and it's more just about life. You're not trying to go for like some specific niche. So I feel like that makes it a little more of an enjoyable process.
yeah. I mean, people have told me that I should do like specific. I mean, and that's what I love about podcasts.
Find
is
your
it's-
niche.
Right. I just love how fluid it is, because like I can, you know, I could do a podcast on just finances or something like that for an episode if I want to. But,
Yeah.
you know, I can talk about jujitsu for a whole episode if I want to. I like that fluidity of like it's all of my interests. And if it's, or like if I have people on that I'm interested to talk to, like half the shit I'm not even interested in. Like I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of like visual art. I'm not. But like I can talk to somebody who is and talk, because I mean, I feel like it all falls down to that repetition, that discipline of continuing to do that art form, regardless of what that art form is.
Yeah. So you view podcasting as an art form?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
The art of conversation, I feel like, is actually somebody who's in college the other day asked me, they're like, what do you feel like is the best art? And I was like, me? I was like, I think the art of conversation.
It's probably the most useful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's what runs nations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Mona Lisa isn't, you know, going to start a country. I don't know. The art of conversation definitely could.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right. I mean, in just success in anything in life, if you don't know how to talk to people, it's very hard. You know, you have a lot of brilliant, specifically, like I came up through college doing engineering, and they would talk about, you know, some people in classes would talk, oh, that guy is so smart. He's going to be so successful one day. But then you go and talk to the kid and he can't have a conversation with you. And like, he will be successful to a point, but especially if you go the traditional route and you go corporate, you're going to hit a wall at some point, because at some point you're going to have to manage people to really get paid more, and they're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And on the other side, people are like, oh, well, they don't have to go corporate. Well, if you think you're going to be an entrepreneur and not have to talk to people,
Yeah, you're mistaken.
yeah.
Yeah. Unless the CEO of a company you can convince otherwise, you know, I mean, even then, like the CEO of that company has to be the same way you are, or see something in you. You know what I mean? It's yeah, you definitely, you need to be socialized as a child to understand those things.
Definitely. I think there's a lot of people that are way smarter than they come off, but they just were never properly taught how to talk, or they never were put in situations where they had to talk to people. The one thing I had that was nice is my parents always made me talk to adults, like when I was growing up. And I feel like that helped me a lot once I became an adult.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are playing catch up especially nowadays, these like Gen Z kids coming up, especially now that I'm in the workforce for a while and I'm starting to see this trend of new people and I'm in sales and I'm starting to see some of my competition coming up. And I feel like they don't know how to have conversations with people over 30 years old.
Yeah.
Or even so, like I'll be talking to somebody who's in their late teens, like 18, 19, 20, in early 20s, and they don't know, like they're like the amount of times that they'll like turn and look at their parents and be like, oh, what's the answer to that? And it's like, are you not fucking old enough to answer questions? Like, I don't understand. Like, you don't know XYZ about yourself. Like,
Also,
I
their
don't know.
attention spans are just so short now because of the social media gratification, all the dopamine hits.
Yeah.
To constantly be switching
That's why I'm super happy.
subjects.
That's why I'm super happy that I grew up the time that I did, because like I was like right at like as I was going into like my teens, that's when the internet really started to become a thing. And like at that point I had already got past I played T-ball and done the Boy Scouts and the whole karate and all that shit. And like I had to have like an attention span of longer than 5 seconds, and then Vine, that's when Vine got big. And
Dude.
That's essentially what that was.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, out of all the social media, Vine was the best.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
was
Vine, and it was here for a short period of time, but it fucking exploded.
I heard something, and I think it was probably just Elon trolling, but I heard that they were gonna try to bring, like Twitter was working on
I've heard that a
bringing
couple
back
times.
Vine.
I've heard that a couple times. It's probably just Elon talking shit.
I think that its time is gone and past. I think that maybe Vine would be a great option, because I'm worried that, I say worried, I don't give a shit, but I think that TikTok's going to go away. I think that the government's trying to definitely get TikTok to go away because it's so crazy, but TikTok's a huge thing. So I think they're going to look for something to like supplement that.
Yeah, it's already getting banned in some places.
Yeah.
Like certain states are banning it and stuff.
I think New York. I want to say I heard something about that.
I have no idea. I don't have a TikTok.
Or they're banning it on White House.
Oh, I know it's definitely banned on any if you have any
devices,
government
stuff like that.
devices.
Yeah.
Well, dude, the terms and conditions are crazy.
Yeah, they see everything.
Yeah, and it basically, like, if you read the fine print, it's like, not only can they look on the certain phone you're on, but anything
it's ever been connected to.
any cloud that it's like. So basically, they've just infiltrated everyone.
Yeah, everything.
Like, if I've shared like an iCloud thing with my fiance, it doesn't matter if I'm not on TikTok. She's on TikTok, and they know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Oh shit, really? Is it like that? Because my wife has TikTok.
It's like that.
Yeah, it's like that.
And I'm over here thinking I'm so virtuous by not having it.
I know, and it's like you're just it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know, man. I feel like
I think the 7 seconds, because it was 7 seconds, right, for Vine?
I think so.
I think it will never go back to 7 seconds, because if TikTok and Instagram and other platforms allow you to go up to like, what's it, a minute, I think now? Mm-hmm. And I guess the 7 second thing was really like did it catch your attention during that time? And I think it's still going to be like that for like video content. If it doesn't get your attention in the first 7 seconds, you just give me the next thing.
I think that's why Vine created so many like viral stars. I mean, people kind of forget that the Paul brothers kind of started on Vine.
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of people that are celebrities right now.
Luke Combs.
Oh, he started on Vine?
Yeah.
Dude, I know like him. There's a lot of comedians that were big on Vine that I think people don't realize that's how they got big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When you have that restriction of the 7 seconds and you have something tight like that, I feel like it really forces a lot of creativity.
You can't. You have to cut out all the fat.
Yeah.
Just give them protein.
Because I watch videos on Instagram, and now it's like I feel like Instagram is TikTok. It's like the reels, and everybody just click a different format on your computer and you share it to Instagram, and then you share it to TikTok.
And then you have YouTube Reels, or what? No, YouTube
Shorts.
Too.
Yeah.
They all have it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, even Facebook now is having shorts now.
they're all converging into the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think eventually it's already like that. It's like pick which one you want. Like they all do the same function. I even saw, I guess, on TikTok now, like they have the video and then you can swipe through and they have like ads and you can put like static pictures on things now.
I don't know. I don't have TikTok.
Yeah, I don't have TikTok either, but I have to sit and watch it sometimes. And I mean, there's funny stuff. You know, like my fiance likes to share some stuff with me, and dude, the shit's hilarious sometimes. Like,
People are
but
making money too.
Dude, what's crazy about all that stuff too is like, as a content creator, when I was doing a lot of the podcast clips, we would post them to Instagram, and on Instagram, let's say it does 2,000 views on Instagram, but then we post it on YouTube, it might get 3 views. But contrast to that, sometimes it would get like 200 views on Instagram, and then on YouTube it'd get like 4,000. Yeah. So like as a content creator, it's like that same video posted on different platforms interacts differently.
Yeah.
So I could see why a content creator would. It's like, the people who use TikTok all the time might not go to Instagram for Reels, and then vice versa. People who use Facebook aren't going there for the Reels kind of thing. But you get like a different audience if as a content creator if you put them on all the platforms. YouTube is going to be a different audience. Like I feel like the demographic for YouTube stuff is more like young men. Instagram is more of like a diversification of all the people, and less older people, but still getting some older people. Facebook's like all old people, and then TikTok's going to be your more like youthful people, I guess. I feel like Instagram and TikTok are probably the 2 closest in demographics, but then you get a lot of like dudes like us who are just like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm actually kind of off social media right now, and I'm having like a weird kind of like decompression off of it. I guess I'm like 2 weeks in now. Not that I'm completely off of it, but it's off my phone. Like I don't have YouTube or Instagram on my phone. And YouTube, I kind of noticed, I don't know. I played this like mental jujitsu in my head that YouTube was good for me, like at all times, and there's like no bad side. And then I like looked at my screen time, and I listen to it in the car because I have YouTube Premium and you can listen to it in the background. So I'll listen to podcasts or just people talking, and there's a lot of content like that. I'm constantly listening to things, and then I don't know, man. The algorithm with YouTube is kind of sus because the only thing I ever type into my search bar is jujitsu stuff. And for some reason, it keeps giving me red pill shit. It keeps giving me like, I'll watch like one conservative YouTube, and then it's like, yeah, and then it's like a whirlwind of like Trump stuff.
Yeah, like Alex Jones.
Yeah, yeah, but it kind of is like that. It's like it tries to force you in the direction of like the most viral like stuff that sucks you in. And I started to get sucked in a little bit to the red pill stuff. And I'm like listening to like the Fresh and Fit and like all into Andrew Tate. And like, I think Tate is misunderstood. And I think overall telling guys to work hard, stop drinking, and like be valuable at its core is okay. But all the fluff around it's just pretty bad. Yeah. And I'm like sitting there listening to it. And I just heard some clip and they were like being mean to some chick that's like, they bring on these young girls to these podcasts that are misinformed. They're trying to figure their own thing out, and it's like these slightly older guys that are like well read and like really prepared for these conversations.
It's basically he's like it's like a major league baseball player who's got like the best like batting average, and he's just got some like t-ball pitcher. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like he's just getting lobbed pitches, and he's just smacking them out of the park every time. And then those should end up on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and you see those reels, and it's like, he said what? And it's like, oh, these girls have got,
and they're figuring almost all of them are OnlyFans models too.
Yeah. And like, yeah,
and they're not exactly engineer degrees.
No, and like I feel for those girls because I do believe that like our society is kind of pushing women in the wrong direction. I know as a dude, I'm not allowed to say that.
Yeah. How dare you?
But I think there's some middle ground. I don't think girls need to be like, coffee? Yeah, I'll take some coffee. Thank you. I don't think girls need to be some like, pristine, like virgin that stays home and like cooks and cleans all the time. Like that's just stupid. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want a woman like that. Yeah. Like I like having a little bit more of a woman with a wild side. Like and the whole like, I don't know.
I feel like as far as I get what you're saying, because like you don't want the old school like dinner's got to be ready by 7, and then we got to sit as a family and eat dinner, and then we pray before dinner, like just like that older mentality. As much as I think there's some good things in that, I think that the majority of lives like I don't know. That split dynamic I feel like isn't as there anymore, and I think there's good things to that too, because like I don't know about you, but like I try my best to just be like best friends with my wife. Like we're just like Literally, she's like my best friend. So, I'd rather have that dynamic than like you're the mom of the household. You do the mom things of the household. And I'm the dad, and I'm gonna go out in the yard and do shit in the yard until dinner's ready, and then I go eat dinner and I yell at the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean that's the thing. It's like they're taking these like old like patriarchal traditional views and really over exaggerating them and trying to like shove them into our modern world. And I just don't think it works. Like, yeah, I don't think a girl needs to be going around and like hoeing it up and, you know, running through 50 guys in a year. Like, that's probably not good. It's not healthy.
But dudes shouldn't be doing that either.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you go on that other side and they act like it's okay for men. And what people don't talk about with these numbers thing, and it's good to keep your number a little lower, is you give a piece of yourself to that person, whether you just met them and you guys are both fucked up and you just go home and have a good night, or you've been dating them for a few months. Like that person takes a piece of you and you take a piece of them, and you're carrying that like the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it becomes a hollow pursuit. You know, it's I think something like that. Obviously, I've not experienced that in my life, but I feel like it's a very it's like the fast food of the dating world.
Yeah,
you know, it's just not good for you.
Well, that's the thing with Tinder and Bumble, and people talk about, you know, these social media stuff's kind of degrading society, and, you know, Tinder and Bumble and all these dating apps are great, but they, just like everything, like they've gone, I think, a little bit too far. And even 4 years ago, before I got in a committed relationship, I noticed that like going out to bars, I had so much more success because it goes back to what we were talking about with like the social media thing. People do not know how to talk to girls in bars anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're just swiping. Like I'd be sitting at a bar watching somebody swipe and I'd be like, dude, there's like 2 great looking girls over there. What are you doing on your fucking Tinder right now?
Yeah. They're just
like, hi. Talk about something that like freaks me the hell out is like, could you imagine being a parent of a daughter that is going to bars like that? Like, dude, the amount of like drugging that happens in those kind of atmospheres. Like, if you live in Hyde Park, you know, right down the road is what's the road called?
Howard.
Yes.
South Howard.
Soho. Yeah.
Yeah.
Soho. Yeah. And dude, like the amount of drugging that happens out there, and that's like the nicer clubbing area compared to Ybor. Like, it's just like I would be terrified to have like your kid go there, especially if you have a daughter too. Because it's, I mean, even that, like I have a buddy, he was on the podcast last time, who's been drugged out there because it was meant for his friend. Yeah. And dude, it's insane.
I think that goes down to weak men. You know, I've seen certain times where dudes are acting weird or creepy, and I've had to like step in, and I don't know, man. I feel like that's on us to take care of that as far as men. You want to talk about like gender roles. The fact that that dude doesn't have somebody in his life that's being like, yo, this is fucked up. What are you doing? Yeah. Because they know, like it's in frat houses and like they talk about it. It's almost like a joke. Yeah. Like fucking date rape's almost like a joke. And I don't know, it's just weak kind of men that get in groups together and then create more. And I guess it's like, it's not really weakness. I guess it's
coward. It's the cowardice.
Poor
values. Yeah.
Well, and going back to what you were saying, where they have problems talking to people, I feel like that's
the easy way out.
That's half the battle. It's like I don't have to talk to this person, and I get what I want from them. It's like I don't know, man.
They're also used to just getting everything they want, so they're like, hey, I'm gonna do this the easy way and guaranteed that I get this girl, instead of actually working for it and maybe being rejected.
I've never been in that situation in my life, so I have no idea what it even feels like.
You've been with your girl for a while, right?
Yeah, like 7 years this year
since high school.
We were 19. So
I guess 19.
Basically, right after.
Yeah.
We started dating in 2016, and we both graduated in 2015. So.
Yeah, dude, the dating world is weird. I mean, I don't know how exactly it is now. I haven't been single in 4 years. Yeah, it's.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah. How long have you been with your girl?
4, and we're getting married in a couple months.
Okay, good. Congrats.
Yep.
I think you got engaged too, didn't you?
I'm engaged. I think we're finally figuring something out. I don't think we're really going to do like a big wedding. We're going to do something real small, but I think we're going to get that done in like a couple months.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we're just going to keep it really small. We were going to do like a big wedding, and
start pricing it.
Yeah, bro.
It's just not worth it.
And like her parents are giving us some money. Like they weren't going to pay for everything, but they were giving us like a good chunk of money. Like we could definitely go buy a car with the money that they're giving us, and it still was going to cost us another car.
Yeah. You're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Dude, so I don't know when the last time you've been to a wedding was, but I've been to some car weddings, some 2-car weddings, and they go
I've
by.
been to some Porsche weddings. Like,
Dude, I've been to some car weddings, and then I've been to some like some like nice dinner weddings where you like go and like you could have you spend a nice dinner on this. So they both go by the same speed. Like they both like it feels like you're flying by. Like it's just I don't know. You subscribe to like Dave Ramsey's kind of stuff too for the most part.
a little bit, yeah.
So like my mentality is like it's not worth it. And at my wedding, I got to fully experience it as the person getting married. It's like that time flies by, and you realize that you're just putting on like a song and dance for everybody that's at your wedding, and you're paying for them to be there and eat and have a good time, and everyone is going to judge it one way or another. You could spend 2 cars on it, and someone's going to be like, "Oh, why'd they pick this color napkin?" It's the most. Everyone's got something nasty to say, no matter how much money you do or don't spend, and it's not even for the people that are getting married, in my opinion. Like it goes by so quick, and you like everyone's gonna have something to say about it, and even the people that don't have anything to say about it, there's not that many of them anymore because most people are self-conscious. They're the people that judge other people's cars and at stoplights, and I don't know, man. The honeymoon is where the real. Like you actually get to feel like you're married, because if you spend, that was our thought, is that if you spend the money on the honeymoon, that's where you really get to enjoy each other. And I feel like that's 10 times more important than the wedding itself. And so we had to really sit down and think about why we wanted to get married, why we wanted to have a wedding. And my reasoning was, so my wife is the only girl out of 5 kids.
Okay.
And she has 4 older brothers. And I was like, half of it is like, they're an immigrant family. They came from Mexico. Like, they've had stress in their lives because of moving here and, coming here, not knowing the language and all this stuff. And I'm like, how cool would it be they want to see their one sister get married. So half of it was them, her mom, that's her one daughter. I'm like, she wants to see her get married. I'm like, that's cool. And then all my grandparents are like my best friends. And I was like, they probably want to see me get married too. So I did it because I also wanted to have a wedding, but we had a real tight budget. And we stuck to our budget pretty well, and we were able to put on. I mean, I think it was a pretty nice wedding. It
was a good day
for the dollars spent. We all had a great ass time. We sang, we danced, and fucking ate pizza. It was the best,
dude. If there's alcohol and good music, that's all you need.
It was a great time.
Really,
yeah,
legitimately,
yeah.
And then like I don't know, man, we had a good time, and then we flew out the next morning at like 8 a.m. to Colorado, and then we did a kick-ass honeymoon for 2 weeks.
Dude, that's great. Yeah, we got to figure out the honeymoon. I'm definitely gonna do something. At least like somewhere in the Caribbean, maybe Mexico, just like a nice all-inclusive, and just go and relax for a few days.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the wedding, everybody tells you like don't do it. Like everybody says it's a waste of time. Like it's a blur. You're barely even gonna remember it.
It's an industry.
It is such an industry, and that's what drove me nuts. Is we could have done the wedding that we had. If you take away the flowers and the photography, that takes away like $15,000.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous how much flowers and photography costs. And it drove me, that was like kind of a point of contention throughout this process with me and my fiance is I'm of the mindset of like, dude, we all have iPhones. Yeah. Every wedding I've been to, nobody actually looks at the professional pictures. It's all like the random selfies and stuff that people took or like the photo booth. So why are we going to spend, it was like $5,000 just for still photography. That didn't even include video. And then I looked it up. I was like, that's ridiculous. And it's like the average range for wedding photography is $4,000 to $6,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what for what?
Yeah.
We didn't spend that much on ours.
No, you shouldn't. You can give a camera. Like I was like, dude, my sister is 15 years old. She knows how to take pictures probably better than like anybody in their 20s right now because it's like their whole life.
Yeah.
I was like, we'll buy a nice like $600 camera.
Yeah.
And
just
like
have them post it.
and then we can keep the camera after.
Yep.
I've never heard that mentality before. That's really good though.
Yeah.
And you don't even spend. You're basically buying a camera every time you hire somebody for wedding photography.
Dude, way more,
You're
man.
buying like an expensive studio grade camera for
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
every time.
She's
I never
like-
even thought about it like that.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, well, they got to edit the photos." I'm like, "Bro,
For
there is
fucking what?
definitely a software now
I do that for a living.
It does it for you, right?"
It's you got to look a little bit, but it's all automated.
But if
Yeah.
you gave Colton like $200 to edit some photos for you, Colton would be overjoyed to do it. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
like-
You like editing photos?
I don't like it.
It's my passion.
It's part of my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your full-time gig?
I'm a pre-press tech.
Pre-press tech. Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
So he does a lot of editing of files. To set
Editing
them
of
up.
files before they go to the press.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So-
is it like logos and stuff, or is it
Everything.
everything?
It's a lot of different stuff. I don't want to say exactly where for, just for keeping the company out of it.
Yeah,
But, it's a lot of business stuff.
business stuff?
But
Okay,
he'll do anything.
that doesn't
from-
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Well, it's
do
a
you
lot of,
do?
like,
Business stuff.
Business stuff.
It's a lot of like logos, but he does a lot of images as well, like cleaning
I'll
up
tell you off the
images.
podcast.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I can tell you some sketchy stuff too off the podcast.
So he does a lot of that stuff. But I'm saying, like, in the wedding photography business, like what you said. So what we did is we have a couple friends. Like, how many aspiring photographers are there?
Exactly.
A shit ton of people who are just like, hire me to take your family photographs. And like, we had two of our friends that are like, they do photography for fun, and we're like, hey, if we gave you $400, I think it was I don't even. Honestly, my wife took care of it. I have no idea how much we spent. I know it was in our budget, so we're good on that. And like, you just pay them to do it, and they're just so happy that they're going to be the ones that, like, when we post the picture, that we're like, oh, they're the ones that it gives them so much like credibility and like not credibility. Credibility and like advertising.
Yeah,
exposure.
Add to
that's
their
the word.
portfolio.
Right.
They
Right.
get experience.
Exactly. And so I'm like, you can hire that, and then like, we know some people that will do wedding photography that have done it before. That are going to charge you fucking $7,000, and I can't bring myself to do that.
One thing we just did recently, so Kelly, my fiance, she did videography in college. So she has the camera for it. She has all that. So recently we helped video a friend's wedding.
Okay.
Like, they paid for the professional photography, but then they also wanted like a home movie style like recording of it. So I mean, we're getting a couple $100, nothing crazy, but we set up a tripod with a nice camera to record the whole reception, and then I had like a handy cam, and I literally just kind of went around and recorded a bunch of stuff, and so they have the pictures and they're gonna have the video.
That's nice.
So
what are you gonna do for your wedding then? Are you doing a big wedding? Or are you doing a?
we're just gonna, we got a buddy, I think, that we're just gonna, he's an ordained minister, so we're just gonna have him,
Shout out Juan.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's gonna
cool.
be on the podcast soon too.
And
Nice.
we're just gonna make it happen like that, because neither one of us want to pay for it.
He married me and my wife, the next door neighbor, him and his
Oh,
wife,
yeah?
and now
Yeah.
him as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
we're
he's
just
gonna-
gonna make that happen and then have a nice party.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
That'll be a good time. I think that's just the way to do it.
Yeah.
I think the problem is I don't know how y'all's parents are, but
That's exactly what I was going to talk about.
my family is like, it's a wedding. It's time to see everyone we haven't seen in 20 years. And it's like, they're bringing
Man,
up
fuck them people.
for real though, but I don't know. I feel like it was a different world when weddings used to be like the craziest thing, because shit, bro, I know what my cousins are doing on Facebook, and like, I don't need them at my wedding.
No.
Not all my cousins, but you
Yeah.
like those.
And you're not getting the best of everyone when you have alcohol available. I just want you to know that too, because
No.
like, you'll have some friends that they decide that night that they're going to mentally check out, and they do a bunch of crazy shit, and next thing you know, if you're even somewhat sober, you're going to be the one taking care of it, and it's
Plus, there's a reason you haven't seen them in however long you haven't seen them.
Yeah. That was my thing. It's like, I don't want to invite anybody that I haven't seen within the last year or two.
Yeah.
Like, physically seen, and
dude.
not like bumped into. Like, we plan to see each other.
Yeah.
you're gonna piss some people off.
Oh,
Just so
I
you know,
know.
because like,
Dude, yeah.
because like, some of the people, like, I have a lot of like friends and stuff like that, and I mean, 100 people is like nothing. It feels like.
Dude, yeah.
And so we had a limit of how many people we wanted to. Just her family and my immediate family, like, didn't even include some of my uncles, because I haven't seen them in years, and just didn't even include them, and we were at like 50, 60 people.
Dude, yeah.
And so by the time I got like my closest friends and their significant others, it hit 100 so quick. And then not only after that, I was like, there's some friends I just didn't invite, and I felt bad because I couldn't have everybody there. But at a certain point, like, love you guys. Wish you could be here, but I have other people that I took priority, and they get over it.
Yeah, people need to understand that. Like, I'm not going to be able to invite more than, if we do what we're planning right now, like, I'm not going to be able to invite more than like 60 people. And if you just talk about blood-related people that live here, that's like 35 people.
Yeah.
Easily.
And that's not including the other 35, 40 people that would drive down from frickin' Michigan, where my dad's from.
Yeah.
And it's if we want our friends to come, like if you take both of our friend groups, like we were going to have like huge bridal parties, like with siblings and everything. We were going to have like 12 people on each side. So it's like all of those people get a +1. That's freaking, that's 48 people right there, just like that. And I don't know, man. It goes up quick. It's a whole
industry.
It goes up quick.
It's a whole industry, and like the way we did our honeymoon is we went to we went to 4 different states. We went to Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. And
That's my kind of honeymoon,
dude. It was bitching, and because we both like to hike, we much prefer to be out in the mountains, and like we went skiing. We went to these towns that like some of them we just hung out in the town, and it was just it's so cool because I'm all about like. I mean, obviously, my wife's from a different culture. Like, I love the different cultures and places. I can totally like go there and just be a sponge and be a part of that culture. And dude, and like I love the food and all that stuff. It was just a good ass time. And we spent like 2-3 days in every place, which obviously you'd want to spend a week in each one of those places.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But I knew that after about like 9 days, you're kind of just like, I want to go home. But dude, it was the best. That's
great.
The best.
That's great. Nice hiking honeymoon. I don't think I'll get that. My fiance likes to hike. She's very likes to hike and do outdoor stuff and then go back to the hotel. She's not like a very like, let's stay outside all day. Yeah. Let's like hike. Let's like eat on top of the mountain. She's not like that, but she will do outdoor stuff. But I know she's going to want to do something where we have a drink in our hand, probably tropical,
just relaxing.
Which I like that, man. I went to a wedding. We talk about nice weddings. Like I was a boxing coach for a neurosurgeon in Gainesville, and he ended up becoming like one of my good friends. Like while I'm like this broke college kid hanging out with this like neurosurgeon, like the head attending neurosurgeon at Shands, and but he ended up becoming a good friend, and we still like talk and hang out, and he will be invited to my wedding. But we ended up getting really close. But I went to his wedding, and it was small. I think it was like 80 people. But dude, they went all out, and it was at this like beautiful 5-star like resort. Oof. And it was the service there. I think this place, we got a great deal because of the wedding, and it was like I don't know. It's expensive, but I think we looked to go back, and it was like $1,200 a night on the cheap nights, and we're like, and that's not all inclusive.
Yeah,
that's not all inclusive. And I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, well, we enjoyed that time. We'll go to a different resort.
How much is the Holiday Inn?
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. And like shit is cheaper in Mexico. Like you can get a really nice resort for like $600 all inclusive, and that's everything. Yeah. And this place is but the thing about it that I realized that I think the ultra wealthy get when they travel is when you get to that resort, you do not lift a finger. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when I travel, and especially when you're doing like hiking travels and stuff like that, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and you got to plan, and you got to do all this stuff. As soon as I stepped on that resort, my brain didn't have to work for 3 days. Like they were ahead of you. It was almost scary. You'd be like, your drink is like halfway done, and you turn around and somebody's right there with another drink, like ready to go, right behind you. They like clean your room multiple times during the day. It's not even like one time. It's like every time you leave, they're like waiting. You leave, they go in, clean it.
Like a siren goes off in the back room, and they're like, go, clean his room.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like you would leave it like late at night. Like we would go to dinner, and we'd come back, and the room was clean. Like.
It's almost creepy.
It was, dude. It's almost. It was creepy. The one night, the one night we drank. We ordered room service at like midnight, and we both passed out. And I woke up, and they had like the whole table set,
just set up for
like
you.
They definitely were in there for like 10 minutes while we were just like passed out.
Bro, that's a little so
creepy.
Weird.
That's a little creepy. You wake up, you're like,
it's like these are just regular people that work here,
I'm sure they're so used to it though.
Yeah,
it's just another thing.
But they're still regular people. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
they were actually really cool. They were really nice, and it was all people. To work at this resort, you had to be fluent in English. Yeah. So it's like there was really no barriers in talking to anybody there. And a lot of them had spent time or like gone to, like some people had like gone to school in the United States, or like, I think that was, they've spent time at resorts in the United States. So they were all like super fluent, nicest people in the world. Like I spent a lot of time just chilling, talking to like the waiter at like one of the little events that we had. Yeah. And it was a cool experience. I think, it's expensive, but to actually go on vacation and get back and feel refreshed, like you didn't have to do anything, like you just checked out for 3 days is, I don't know, man, it's almost priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah. until you start pricing it.
Until you start pricing it. Yeah.
You look at the
Yeah.
bank account, you look at the price, you look at the bank account, you look at the price, and you're like, I don't know.
You're like, how many weeks did that just cost me a pay?
Right,
Dude,
right.
that's the
How
thing.
many- at that point, you're almost getting into months.
I know.
I think that's the trick, man. You got to get into thinking about hours worked compared
Yeah.
to how much you're spending.
If you're a
and-
neurosurgeon, that's like, it's a couple days.
Yeah.
You know?
One morning.
At least it feels like it probably.
Yeah. No, he's a good guy and he's very giving, and it was nice because he was covering a lot. That's why it was so cheap for people to come. But he made it to where it was like very affordable for everybody to come. So
cool.
That's awesome.
So it was really dope.
That's the dream, man.
yeah.
That's the dream, is to be able to comfortably afford stuff and give like, I don't know, it's something feels really good about like doing something for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely is. I mean, I think that when it comes down to it, we have to do that as humans. We have to give to other people. We have to support our community, or else we don't feel whole.
It's like I mean, as some people might not agree with everything Dave Ramsey says, and that's totally okay. But one of the things he says that I believe is incredibly wise is there's only 3 things you can do with money: you can save it, spend it, and give it. And I'm like, that's kind of like you should be doing all 3 of those things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I love buying other people things and like that they weren't expecting, and just I don't know, that's always a good feeling.
I love the power move of like getting up at dinner and like going and finding the waiter and be like, don't
pay
even
for
bring
it
the
real
tab,
quick.
just
Yeah.
pay for it. And like that's always a fun move.
It's good to be in the position to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's very
And
nice.
most of America is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
Have you read the book Psychology of Money? So it's it gets a little bit deeper into like investing and more of the reasons why psychologically we do things, and kind of it's very in line with Dave Ramsey. It's a little more scientific about it. It kind of looks at the numbers a little bit more and kind of shows you things. And he gives like examples and stories of people that either like lost everything or made everything. And a lot of the stories kind of go in line with the Dave Ramsey mindset of get your saving rate as high as you can, slowly invest in moderate to low risky stocks and index funds, and like slowly build your wealth. And I think it's a really good read. If you like like the Dave Ramsey style of stuff, and it's a good audiobook too. I think I listened to it on like 1.25 speed, and it was still like very easy to listen to. So
I'll have to check that out.
yeah.
Dude, that's one of the things that I don't know about you, but I'm like incredibly hard on myself, and like one of the, like I have all
Do
these.
we got jackets for the club?
Bro, I'm saying, man, I'm, dude. If my ideal self in my brain never has time for anything. Like I would just be doing so much shit all the time. And I don't read or listen to audiobooks as much as I would like to, and that's one of the things that bothers the piss out of me.
That's the one thing that's nice about my job doing outside sales is I am in the car too much. I think I did 800 miles this week. Like I had to fill up my tank, and my tank gets like 600 miles, and I filled it up on Monday, and I filled it up again on like Thursday, and I still had a lot more driving.
Oh my god.
And but it's I do have a lot of time to listen to audiobooks, and that was the problem with the YouTube thing is like I get going down these rabbit holes, and I'm just in the car driving to Sarasota for an hour and a half.
Maybe the Earth is flat.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Are the frogs gay?
The frogs are gay. Dude, Alex Jones, man.
good old
crazy,
Alex.
Crazy
Man,
dude.
he's going through the ringer right now.
Again?
For what? Oh, you're talking about the lawsuit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
From
yeah,
them
yeah,
saying
yeah,
that,
yeah. Yeah, well, he fucked up on that one.
I don't even know what that was about.
It's the Sandy Hook stuff.
I mean, I know it was
Yeah.
a Sandy Hook thing, but what happened? What did
He
say?
basically like went super hard on the fact that it was like they had actors. It was a completely fake thing. It was like the government trying to get control of the guns.
like berating the families, and it was
yeah,
a
he
whole-
went way too hard. And the way Joe Rogan describes it, I think he was going through like a psychotic break at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's definitely had alcohol problems and stuff too.
I mean, he is slightly retarded. So
I mean,
He says that, yeah.
yeah, that's the funniest video. We literally were joking about it
We were
this morning.
talking
He's like,
about it
I'm a little retarded. So one of the
you know
best-
Joe Rogan. I'm slightly retarded.
Dude, I think he almost purposely does that though. I think he keeps himself in this lane where he's like crazy and like they don't. I mean, obviously they're trying to censor him somewhat, but I think they don't like I don't know.
I think to do what he does, you have to be that way, unfortunately. To be the guy who finds out about Epstein Island years before everyone else does, you have to be fucking crazy.
That's a scary thing is if you listen to him and you start researching, like you get, the first time I heard him on Rogan, I was like, this is bullshit. And I'm like sitting there at the computer, listening to the freaking thing, like researching everything. And 80 to 90% of what he was saying was, at least everything that I could find was like true, and it wasn't even like trying to be hidden.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
we were talking about,
but then he gets into like the frogs being gay thing, and then like
some of it. That's what I love. So much of it is like when he says something, it's like a slap in the face. You know what I mean? And I think that's half of his entertainment value.
Yeah,
is like the frogs are gay, and you're like, wait, what the fuck did you just say?
I think that's what we forget is like it's entertainment when it comes down to it.
And
if your buddy said that, you'd be like, hold up, everyone stop talking. What did you just say? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the attention that he commands. It's like everyone shut the fuck up. Alex being crazy. Alex, what did you say?
If you're into conspiracy theories, you're gonna be wrong about a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you gotta go full force into all of them.
Yeah.
It's a theory, bro.
Yeah.
Even scientific theories can be changed, you know?
I was talking about the moon landing.
Yeah, we were talking about that before you got
So
do you guys think the moon landing happened?
I'm like 70-30 on it happening. Not happening. 70% thinking it didn't happen. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm crazy. But no, so we went to Kennedy Space Center last weekend. So last weekend was our 1-year wedding anniversary. I have my NASA cup. And I bought it there because I wanted to remember it, and it gives me something to think about.
It's a cool cup.
Thank you. And I don't know, man. Just going around there, and like, there's so much shit everywhere there at Kennedy Space Center that you can read about and look about and be like, this is a moon rock, and da-da-da-da. I'm like, this almost feels like an industry. I mean, granted, I know that that's what I'm there for, is that industry of like, you're looking at space stuff. They're gonna try and punch everything up to make it seem cooler than it is. But I don't know, man. Like, I was just walking around, and I'm like, we went to the moon in the fucking 70s, in the early 70s, late 60s. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why have we not gone back? And I started researching it because they don't tell you all this stuff. There's only been 12. Granted, this is Wikipedia. I might be wrong. Independent fact checkers will lie to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
Wikipedia is controlled by the government.
12 people have touched the moon.
Yeah.
Only 12 people. And all of them were American, and all during the late 60s to the early 70s. It's been 50 plus years. And we haven't gone back. That makes, and our technology, I mean, I told him, I was like, think about what the cars were like in the late 60s, early 70s. Like, they're really cool because they look really old, they're vintage, but they were dog shit compared to these cars today.
Yeah.
A modern Toyota Camry would smoke a fucking SS Camaro from back then that hasn't been changed. Like, it's just insane to me that technology's gotten so much better. And how come technology's gone so much better and we haven't gone back to the moon?
But why would we go back?
That's a good question, too. I don't know why we would go in the first place.
Think about the billions of dollars that was spent to go to the moon and what resources are on the moon.
Yeah.
I feel like if we went to Mars, that'd be one thing, because there's got to be like, I don't know. I feel like we are just a few million years behind Mars. Like, I feel like at one point, Mars was Earth, and just the weather got super bad, and things changed, and I don't know, the sun or whatever. I don't know. But
all I know is I'm all stupid for all of it.
I don't know. I feel like we had to have gone to the moon. I feel like they just realized once they got up there, there was like, wow, we spent a lot of money for a photo
we
op.
need some promotion on this.
Well, think about everything the government does. Like, in terms of war, once they get a budget for something, they continue that budget or more so that way they can keep spending that amount of money. So that cost, however much millions of dollars back then to do it. I can't imagine in 50 years they haven't been like, well, the technology's gotten so much better in those 50 years that there has to be a new level of research that we could have done to make it worth it. And plus, there was incredible incentive back then to potentially fake it. Incredible incentive with the Cold War and the space race.
And how do we know they're not currently on the moon right now?
That's the thing.
How come they're all Americans?
Would they
no
tell
other
us
country?
what they found if it was something good?
No other countries touched the moon.
It's the dark side of the moon, right?
Bro.
I mean, the moon never. Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I'm not convinced either way. I'm just hella suspicious.
Yeah.
And I'm also too dumb to understand all the science and technology. Like, we looked at like the engine of one of the rockets, and I'm like looking at all the tubes and shit. And I'm like, I would never fucking figure this out. Give me 10 years, and I might have half the understanding I need.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Well, how many freaking things have blown up? I mean, space shuttles have definitely blown up.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no,
we've
I'm
seen
not
that-
saying
we
that's
see
not
they go
real,
off.
yeah.
Like, we've seen
Yeah.
the spacewalks. Like, I mean, I think we're definitely doing stuff in space. I think
I
the
think
thing
we've been in space.
I think the moon, it's either two sides. It's either A, there's nothing there, and they're like, A, we're not going to waste any more money, or B, there's something crazy going on up there, and they're like, yeah, maybe we haven't gone to the moon. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not convinced one way or the other. I'm hella suspicious.
there's a,
it's
a nuke base on the moon.
right. Like it's pointed all at China.
And that
Russia.
artwork behind you. With the chair.
Oh, I don't want to mess that up. That's very
There
nice.
you go.
It's a print.
Who is that?
That's Kurt Cobain.
That's what Kurt Cobain.
It's crazy because like I'm not a Nirvana fan. Like I just never listened to Nirvana. Like I was never crazy about it. And it was just one of the guys I had on. He gave it to me, and I was like, "Dope! I'll hang that up." so
That's
people
really
can see
sick.
it. I think it's a dope ass painting.
Yeah.
He does some crazy ass art too.
Yeah.
Shout out Steve DeLong.
Yep. The long pop art.
Yep,
Steve
DeLong pop art.
DeLong pop art. Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Yep.
That is awesome.
But what were we just talking about? Moon landing.
Moon landing.
I was like to other conspiracy theories, like was 9/11 an inside job? Like I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced one way or another. I think 9/11 less is a conspiracy, but there's also a lot of like weird things that happened following up to that. Like it's like on 9/10, it's when the biggest Pentagon shortage of money ever, or what was it? Like there was just like $2 trillion missing or something crazy or something like that the day before that, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, everybody turn your attention here. I don't know. I'm not convinced one way or another on most of them. I love conspiracy theories. Though.
Yeah,
They're so fun.
I think it's I think 9/11 is probably just like COVID, where people were doing corrupt shit and fucked up shit, and then it led to this horrible event that happened, and then after that horrible event happened, similar people that were doing the fucked up shit, one, scrambled to cover it up, and two, scrambled to make it make profit off of it.
Yeah.
Like how many billionaires came out because of that? I mean, I'm sure if you look back at the numbers of 9/11, the amount of companies in the industrial military complex, like I'm sure a lot of people made money after 9/11. I'm sure a lot of people were connected with the government that made money, but I don't think George Bush is sitting taking phone calls like, yeah, we should, let's take down the World Trade Center.
I mean, another thing too is think about the Bay of Pigs in the 60s with, that was an inside job where they were going to blow up a passenger airplane by Cuba and blame it on the Cubans, and then so that way we could invade Cuba. Like, to me, it doesn't mean we stopped doing that then. It means they probably just got better at hiding shit like that.
Yeah.
No, they're definitely doing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, dude.
Vietnam was a fucking made-up war.
Sometimes, dude, though, like, look at the hysteria that this caused. Look at like all of the vitriol and like the back and forth we're seeing and like divides in our country. Part of that is because we know all this stuff is going on. Sometimes it's like maybe better that we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, your parents did a lot of fucked up shit when you were growing up that you were like, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being kind of good for you in a way.
Or not even.
And I'm not saying these like large conspiracy things and taking money out of our pocket and like murdering third world countries is necessarily like a good thing. But at the same time, we are all implicit in this horrible like industrial capitalistic complex that is going on, not in America, but globally.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing that people forget is they're like, oh, China's doing this, China's doing that. Like, our economy and China's economy are so interconnected that if either one of us just drops off, the other one is going to suffer very immensely for a long
power
time.
suck. Yeah.
If China all of a sudden goes, guess what? We're not shipping you anything anymore. Look at what happened in the pandemic with the microchips. Like, we're so dependent on them for
aspirin.
manufacturing. Yeah.
And just bullshit pills, too.
And then on the other side, you take away America, like, their whole economy has to completely shift.
Yeah.
Well, they're denouncing the U.S. dollar, I want to say, right?
No,
Oh, they are?
there are a
About
lot
that.
of countries that
Yeah.
are doing that right
I think
now.
they announced them and another country are going to.
It is crazy how
Yeah,
much
let that crypto run,
Dude,
bro.
we're knocking on the door of World War III, and I don't like that.
Yeah, but I don't think World War III is going to be fought with bombs and stuff. I think right now
hope
we're
not.
in
I
World War
fucking
III.
hope
If it does, it doesn't matter. We're all
It's
dead.
it's a culture war.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get to a point. Somebody made a good comment, like, we're never going to go to war with a country that has a McDonald's in it, and like
Yeah.
there's McDonald's all over China.
Yeah. Are they in North Korea?
No, they're not. I don't think so. But I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm not trying to fuck around and find out.
They might have their own kind of McDonald's.
Talking about the military-industrial complex, one of the things I noticed is, like, my wife and I were walking around Kennedy Space Center, and I'm like, dude, like, there's fucking Boeing signs everywhere. And not only Boeing, there's fucking, what's the name of the company? big ass aviation company. The number one that everyone knows the name of. I can't think of it. It's Boeing and Lockheed Martin.
Oh yeah, Lockheed
there's
Martin.
fucking Lockheed Martin stuff everywhere, and I'm like, hella suspicious. Hella suspicious. I don't know.
Hey man, I invest in a Defending America ETF that does really well. So
Dude, okay, talk to me about that because I had a suspicion once. I asked the guy who he's like an investment specialist that I talked to. His name's Ryan as well. And every time I talk to him, I've asked him once before, and I'm like, I bet you that's a fucking safe ass investment. It's the defense budget's never going to stop being what it is.
No.
Like, if you have an ETF or a mutual fund that's just in military companies, I'm sure it's fucking doing exceptionally well.
Yeah, you just have to follow the corruption. Like, I invested in a certain...
Throw the Nancy Pelosi ETF.
Really, dude, they should just start a stock thing on what Paul Pelosi does, and just everybody should follow him.
There was something like that. Because all like stock trades are public. Like they literally somebody made an ETF that follows what Nancy Pelosi
Made a
does.
shitload of money.
And next thing you know, the CIA was at that people's house. Like, how are you making so much money?
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
crazy.
the thing is I don't know, man. Everybody likes to act like all altruistic and like I would never do that. I would never do that. Like, dude, you're telling me if somebody came to you right now with insider information that would make you millions of dollars and you weren't going to get in trouble
You
for
wouldn't
it?
slide them a 20?
Yeah, like you're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
It's like it's like SpaceX. I was hearing on a podcast the other day. SpaceX is not public yet. And it's like if you knew that SpaceX was going to go public, and Elon came to you and was like, "Hey, we're going public tomorrow," you would give your fucking all the chips, dude. If you're playing a game of poker in life, you're putting everything in there. You're selling the dog, dude. You're doing everything you can to put as much money in there because you know tomorrow that shit's about to skyrocket.
Yeah, they're going public and they got some government contract that's like popping at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. People just...
Life's messy, dude.
Life is messy as fuck. And it's like, honestly, what kind of put me in perspective with like the whole Pelosi thing is I was very like against the Pelosi's and all this stuff. And then, the whole thing that happened where Paul Pelosi got attacked at his house. And like it seemed like super conspiracy theory, and then like the video came out, and like it was all like kind of legit. Like a crazy person showed up to their house, and like they just had a lapse in like security, and like the dude got knocked the fuck out cold.
Yeah,
and
with
like
a hammer.
it was, dude. Did you watch the video? Because it was
brutal.
very disturbing to watch. And he's like breathing funny like after he goes out, and I think people don't understand violence in a certain way, and like everybody's just joking around about it. And regardless of whether he is being a good person and he technically is stealing from the American people, at the same time, like, dude, he got fucking attacked in his own home. And like,
if he can get attacked and with armed security, like, it's
and
wild.
we have to be careful with the stuff we're doing and the stuff we're saying, and people being like, you should fuck Paul Pelosi up, or we should, and it's like somebody's gonna go out there and go do that. And when it comes down to it, like, that's somebody's freaking, uncle or grandpa. Like, somebody loves that guy, whether he's a good person or not. And I don't know, man. It's just the craziness. Like, yeah, they're fucked up. They're doing fucked up stuff. But, like, a lot of people do fucked up stuff. You guys, we all have friends that do super fucked up stuff. And we're like, oh, that's just Steve.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep, 100%. It's like, when Steve has some whiskey,
he gets a little crazy.
he starts, being weird.
whiskey. Yeah, dude. Whiskey makes people a little different sometimes. But
Some people can't handle it.
I don't know,
Most
man.
people can't handle it.
Yeah, most people can't. Alcohol's,
Yeah.
So
it's a hell of a
So
drug.
you said talking about violence. You still doing jujitsu, right?
Yeah, all the time.
Bro, it's the most fun.
I'm like having to like slow down a little bit because my shoulder's been messed up because I didn't tap to a Kimura, which was so fucking dumb.
Dude, oh my God, that freaks me out. Kimuras and like Americanas, which to people that don't know, that don't do jujitsu, it's like one where your like arms getting like bent backwards.
Yeah.
And if you don't tap to it, it's a spiral fracture. Or if it either A, dislocates your shoulder, or it snaps the whatever bone connects your elbow to your shoulder, and it snaps it in a spiral, which takes forever to heal up from.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen those videos because the internet's desensitized me to violence. And I've seen those videos and those noises, and it's so easy to just either say tap or tap and just keep rolling with the punches.
Yeah, ever since that injury, I've been tapping really quick. And I've really slowed down. I kind of am changing my mindset with jiu-jitsu a little bit. It's getting much more relaxed and flowing and not like death holding grips. Like you're doing no gi, but in gi, like I felt like I was getting arthritis in my hands because you're constantly gripping the gi, the lapel and stuff, and it gets out of hand. But dude, I love jiu-jitsu. It's fun.
That's one of the reasons I was so like nervous about doing a gi jiu-jitsu is because you never see a black belt in gi jiu-jitsu not have their fingers taped up. You know what I mean? And their fingers all look like they're arthritic and like fucking, they just get so fucked up on their hands because so much of the chokes and so much of gi jiu-jitsu is having access to the gi, grabbing pant legs and then grabbing, collars and, collar chokes and stuff like that. Stuff that I feel like in Florida is hard to do because you don't have people wearing jackets. Most of the time.
Yeah, but a good pant grip,
Yeah, that can be true.
Yeah. I don't know. I think gi is great. I think it's more pure in a sense of like a pure martial art, and you even see that at like the tournaments. Like the no-gi tournaments are like these big juiced up guys, and there's fireworks going off, and everybody's like, let's go. And
there's
then
sharps containers in every bathroom.
yeah, and you watch like an official like gi jiu-jitsu tournament, and they're all like clapping like lightly, and like the refs got a suit on, and
jiu-jitsu.
Well,
it is like golf. Honestly, I feel like it's like a very tennis vibe.
Yeah,
it's like everybody's quiet, like they cheer when it's like the right time, and
I feel like in martial arts, discipline of like having to wear a gi is like I feel like it gets you a little bit more into that discipline, and a no gi atmosphere is much more laid back, and it's more just like I feel like you'll see more stoners in no gi. Just because it's like, oh, bro, I don't have to wear that like outfit.
I don't know, man.
But I feel like there's benefits to. I mean, any jujitsu you're gonna have stoners in. Yeah. But I feel like the gi. I feel like you should train both. Most people should train both because I mean, if someone who only does gi, they're gonna be, they're gonna have a false sense of grips to a certain point. And I feel like a lot of the stuff is like, can you? Especially because you wear in no-gi, you wear very tight like spats and stuff like that, and rash guards that you can't grab a hold of.
I'm a
material.
big spats no shorts guy. It's not allowed at my gym, but my old gym I used to wear just spats.
Bro, see, I told my wife that people do that, and she's like, "Really?" She's like,
"I wear a cup. It's not like that weird."
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But most of the people I train with don't wear cups, so that would be very weird to be like,
just free balling and some spats.
Put your dick away, bro. Yeah, like I'm not trying to roll with you right now. Your dick's gonna be slapping against me. It's not about that. Especially if you get stuck in like a north-south, dude. No, fuck that.
Yeah. But, dude, why do you do jiu-jitsu?
Why?
Yeah, why? Like really why? Not like, but why?
So when I was growing up, I did karate. And I got in karate, the belt structure is different, just like every martial art, but it's brown belt then black belt, and there's 3 levels of brown belt. I think I was the first or second level brown belt. I can't remember. But I was at that
just
point,
brown and black.
No. It was white, yellow, orange,
I was gonna say that's
purple,
nice
green,
martial art.
blue.
You just show up, you go white to brown.
No, I had done karate for like 3 years, and I basically got to the point where I know brown belt's the one where it's very similar to jiu-jitsu. Like you can be that belt for a long ass time.
Yeah.
But basically all you have to do is you've got what it takes to be a black belt. You just need to continue with it. Yeah. And I got to that point, and then my brother quit, and then I quit because my brother quit. And I was like, I don't know. It's one of those things like, I don't know. I thought it would be bitching to be a black belt in something at one point in my life. And also, I'd be drinking with my buddies and talking shit. And I always knew that, like, because I learned at a young age how to throw a punch and how to throw a kick, like, I know the dynamics of it. I know what it feels like to hit something hard as fuck. I've sparred with people too. Like, I've always felt good about like stand up in relation to somebody who has never done a stand up martial art. And so me and my buddies would be drinking, talking shit, and then next thing you know, dudes being dudes start fucking around and like wrestling and shit. And I always knew that like if me and one of my buddies were like standing up, like I feel pretty confident I could fuck them up. But my other buddy, Cody, who's been on the podcast before, his older brother was like a really good wrestler in high school. So he always wrestled with his brother. Cody never wrestled, just with his brother. So by nature, he learned a lot of wrestling moves. And anytime Cody and I would start fucking around, he would just grab a hold of me and we'd be on the ground and there was nothing I could do about it. Yeah. I felt so helpless on the ground. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to be at this. I knew I wanted to do a martial art. I didn't know what I wanted to do, whether it was MMA. I thought about doing Muay Thai. And jiu-jitsu seemed the most appealing to me because I knew that it was like, you're going to learn shit and there's no, like, I mean, even boxing matches have people tying up and getting in clinches. And it's like, at that point, you just pull them to the ground, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know. I just wanted to build that confidence of being on the ground. And dude, and I tried my first class because my wife signed me up for it. It was a free class. It was a new class just starting. She signed me up for it, and I went, and I was like, I'm doing this. This is, and I got my ass beat for basically an hour.
Yeah.
And but then I realized I'm like, these are like smaller people than me. Like if I'm a big dude and I decide to be good at this and get good at it, I'm like, that's one of the things on my bucket list is to be a black belt in something one day.
Yeah.
And not a bullshit martial arts that you can't actually use in real life. I feel like jiu-jitsu is one of those things that, you know, in a single person combat is the best. I really like Jocko's advice about it too. He's like, you know, if you got somebody who's a black belt in Muay Thai or Taekwondo or something like that, and they don't have a hold of you, just run away. Like you can just get away.
Yeah.
I feel like a striking martial art's better if there's multiple people for certain, but you know, that's also what the Second Amendment's for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if I can't grab a hold of my gun, it's like, you know, it's not hand to hand. It's if they've got a hold of me, then take them into my world and drown them.
Yeah. As far as self-defense goes, like jiu-jitsu's best for one-on-one. Like I think especially too, like I think women should really learn jiu-jitsu because the dude is not doing anything with you if you know jiu-jitsu. Even if like he's a big dude and you're a 120-pound chick, like if you're a purple belt, if a girl gets their purple belt, there's a lot of 250-pound like frat boys that think they could just like hold them down and do whatever they want,
those are my
and they're
favorite
gonna
videos,
get choked the fuck out.
Those are my favorite videos.
Dude, there's some badass chicks at my gym. That's one thing is like the one thing about doing jiu-jitsu, I think I'm in it now to where I'm going to get the black belt. I originally started because I have good striking. I think we talked about it last time I was on the podcast. I did kickboxing off and on competing for about 7 years, and I was like the president of the kickboxing club. I like taught at multiple gyms, a very like solid base of striking to the point that people think I'm being like super cocky and like an asshole, but dude, outside the top 5 in the UFC, like the striking fucking sucks. And I was like, at one point I was like, okay, I just need the ground game. And then I'm going to go and do MMA. And then I started doing jiu-jitsu. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to fight anymore. I think I just want to do jiu-jitsu with my buddies and become a black belt. And
there's less likelihood you get brain damage from jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah, but you also, it's like you either sacrifice your brain or you're sacrificing your back and your knees, basically.
Right. Or the other thing is you do no martial arts, you do no sports of anything like that, and then you're sacrificing your, endocrine system and, your metabolic health.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to find what works for you. But
I'd rather go to a sports medicine doctor to fix my joints and shit like that than to go to a doctor because I have diabetes and heart conditions and all this other stuff too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know though. As far as jiu-jitsu being a fitness and like a lifestyle and like a healthiness in that regard, I don't think it's good.
It can be.
I think it can be.
Most people won't be.
You have to understand if you're going into jiu-jitsu, you're gonna get hurt.
Oh, it's all the injuries.
You're going to be sore constantly. And I think the problem is too, is you work so hard that my diet's gotten worse since I started doing jiu-jitsu because I have I'm expending so many more calories. And then I'm just like, whatever, I'm going to eat, I mean, I don't have that bad of a diet, but as far as for where it was before jiu-jitsu, it's definitely gone off the rails a little bit. And it's caused me to like get away with things a little more. And then you got people like did you guys see all the stuff going on with Nikki Ryan and
or Nikki Rodriguez?
Nikki Rod and Gordon Ryan. Yeah. Did you see all that stuff with the PEDs and shit?
Yeah.
For people that don't know, there's like 2 prominent guys in jiu-jitsu and they were like
each other.
They hate each other and they were going back and forth. And one said that one guy was greasing and the other guy was talking about PEDs. And the other guy was like, well, you're on PEDs too. And he's like, no, I'm not. And
like
then
performance enhancing drugs. People might not know the acronym, but it's like steroids basically.
Yeah. And then he did like an impromptu test that was like pretty legit with a guy that is kind of the key knowledge guy of steroids on YouTube right now.
Oh,
more plates.
Yeah, Derek.
Yeah. And apparently like he's natural, but he also is pre-diabetic. So it's like you can not be healthy and be fucking jacked and like in great shape. And I feel like that's a problem with jiu-jitsu. I feel like from a perspective of like the pro athletes and just in general, like the diet and the lifestyle and the training, I feel like a lot of times it's gotten very unhealthy and very like bro. Like it's like I'm just gonna chug down protein shakes and fucking deadlift and then go at it. And then if you really get into jiu-jitsu and you look at the history, it doesn't come from that at all. The Gracies like were vegans and freaking did yoga all the time.
Yeah, and breath work, a lot of breath work too. Yeah. So my idea behind jiu-jitsu is like, so obviously I'm a big dude. I'm 220 pounds, and it's so easy to do big dude shit to smaller people when you're this big. I mean, you're a taller dude too, so like you have leverage. And how much do you weigh?
200.
Yeah, you're a big dude.
Yeah, not in my gym, bro. We got some giants fucking there.
Right, but like it's so easy to use that as a leverage. And like I noticed, like within a month of me doing jiu-jitsu, that like the only reason that I was doing somewhat good was because I was exhausting myself. I was like, everything that it would be a bullshit choke, and I would just squeeze the ever living piss out of somebody, and they would tap just out of pressure.
Yeah,
and I was like, this isn't like I really wanted to not be I listened to like Gordon Ryan talk about it, and he's like, so much of it's technique, and I'm like, I stopped. Like I try not to muscle the hell out of anything anymore. Obviously leverage is something I can't, if I'm fighting somebody who's 5 foot, if I'm rolling with somebody who's like 5'4", like it's unfortunate, but leverage is going to be my advantage. But I just try not to be a big dude about things. I'm trying to be a big dude that rolls like a small person. That way, if I ever need to use the big dude stuff in a situation, I'll have it in my back pocket. But I got more comfortable off of being on my back. That was the thing I would.
That's where I live, bro.
Every time I roll, I kind of I try to have a mentality of like what is my goal for this role? Like especially if there's a submission I know I've been getting a lot on people. Like I started to get like a little bit of cauliflower ear in my left ear because I was doing so many head and arm chokes, which is a big dude thing, right? And I was like, I need to abandon that choke for a while. Like no more of those chokes, and like my arm bars are shit. Yeah. So let's start doing arm bars. No, you're good. Start doing arm bars. So like I would make it a point like I'm gonna roll with this person. I never tell them what I'm doing, but I'd be like, I'm only going to go for arm bars on them. Or like, that's how I got better at getting out of mount, or when somebody was in mount on me, I was like getting out of someone on mount, and then, escaping side controls and shit like that. I would literally roll with people, and my whole goal would be to not let them pass my guard, or if they do pass my guard, is to get them back into a neutral position. Yeah. And so, I don't know. I love the mentality of jiu-jitsu. Like, you heard Mark Zuckerberg's podcast with Joe Rogan?
I didn't watch that one. No.
Okay. Well, one of the things that he talks about is he used to run.
Goob.
he talks about how he used to run all the time. Yeah. Zuckerberg did. Yeah. And he said that, the problem with being a CEO in his position is like, you think too much already. You need something to get your mind off of the business. And when you run, it's almost like you double down on thinking at that point. Yeah, you do. Because your mind goes in and you think about, I like that aspect of running, because if there's something I can't if I'm too busy focused on other stuff, and I need that time to think about something, running helps me think. Yeah. But what I love about jiu-jitsu is it takes that away from you. Like if you're thinking about anything else besides jiu-jitsu, someone's going to be on your back fucking choking you. Yeah. And I love that you're only focused on that. Like all the bullshit of life, like it sits at the door at the jiu-jitsu school, and you like walk in, you do the jiu-jitsu, and you just pick it back up when you leave. But dude, I love it. The other thing that I love is the humility of it. There's no denying if you just got tapped or not. There's no like, you just clipped me, and it's because I.
That was more of a neck crank, bro.
Bro, yeah, it's more of a crank than a choke. It's like sounded like a tap to me, bro. But that's one of the things we say at our school all the time. It's like sounded like a tap to me. Yeah,
dude. That's the big thing, and everything you're describing. I think if people aren't familiar with jiu-jitsu, they don't understand like the different terminology. But one thing that I'm learning from jiu-jitsu is you can take jiu-jitsu and the way you progress and get better at it, and you can apply that to anything in life. Like you look at positions where you're weak in, and you really go into those and try to make them strengths. You slow things down. You're not just barreling through stuff. You're taking your time. You're thinking. And I feel like the one thing that's good about jiu-jitsu, and why I want my kids to do it one day, is it just teaches you so much about life. And that's the thing, is like I got into it and just like striking, I kind of did the same thing. Like I got into it for like I want to beat up my dad kind of like shit. And then like it became such a, like you said, like humility, ego driven in the sense of I'm trying to control my ego through martial arts. And that's something that I definitely needed as a young man. And I'm glad I found martial arts, because I truly do. Everybody kind of jokes around, but I don't know. I feel like I've ridden on the edge a lot of times in my life of where I could have gone different ways and people I was hanging out with, and like I've always like done well in school and like portrayed this very like all American kind of thing, and in the background I'm like, just hanging out with some sketchier people and like living the bar life and and that's one thing about martial arts too, is it's this weird intersectionality where like when I was in Gainesville, if I started really hanging out with like these crazy MMA guys, which I definitely enjoyed, I loved going out with them. I loved sparring with them. It was like kind of chaos, but they were living this chaotic, like PEDs, like party on the weekend, then train super hard, like broke all the time, like kind of thing. And like they're working in bars and stuff. And I feel like I could have went down that route with martial arts. And I'm lucky I stuck on like the path of being much more
well-rounded,
humble and well-rounded, and not like it brought me away from that stuff, but it also kind of brought me toward that stuff a little bit.
I have to piss super bad.
Dude, you're
Can
good.
we pause for a pee
Yeah,
break?
no, you're
Somehow we're adults.
Bedliner.
that's cool.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that a lot,
I
actually.
got a buddy who does them.
I might get one from him. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I enjoy
Yeah.
it. It's like way easier to grip too. This one's old too. Like this is held on for a long time. I think
It's just
there's
bed liner.
Yeah, it's just there's one like chip in the bottom of it, like one tiny little chip.
Yeah,
This cup might be 4 or 5 years old.
that's nice, man.
Dude, I love it.
I like it. Is Yeti?
No, the lid is.
The lid is. Dude, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. You guys are talking about something.
You're good.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I'm on a brewmate grind lately.
What is that?
It's like the new kind of Yeti, but I like it. Like, I just got a brewmate protein shaker, so it's like a freaking stainless steel like protein shaker. Love that. I got like a coffee cup from my company. I might buy their cooler soon because it's like a big cooler with wheels.
Pull it up, Colton.
And then there's a
What is it?
it's a look up brewmate cooler. It's spelled with a U. It's like BRU and
Like
then
bro,
mate.
but with a U.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Like bro. Yeah. But they have a cooler.
Oh, I got you. There we go.
And it has like a drink mix thing, and it has like a little dispenser on it. And I just think it's the coolest thing. If you bring like the brew tank rolling cooler, that's the one.
Yeah, we're on my hotspot Wi-Fi because Ryan doesn't have internet.
Oh yeah, man, I forgot. You live in, off
fuck
the,
Egypt.
off the grid,
In
bro.
BFE, dude.
Off the grid. You need to get that Starlink, bro.
I need to.
Yeah.
I need to research it. Oh, those are dope looking cups, dude.
Yeah, dude, they're very like in right now, and it's.
You're the first person to tell me about this. Never
I
heard
think
of
they
this before.
started with like the insulated
Can
yeah,
holders.
can holder things, and then the brew tank, bro. I gotta.
That's
get
a
this.
dope ass name for a cooler too.
It
The
is.
brew tank.
It is. It's so fucking expensive. I'm like, I gotta get.
Oh, they're $400.
Oh yeah, dude, they're
Oh, my
fucking.
Christ.
They're fucking crazy, bro. It's all this stuff, man. I mean, Yetis are nuts.
Yeah, they're $400.
But also, I got a Yeti when I graduated college. That was like 2016, and like it's
Probably
this,
is still in great condition.
It's the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It really is. Look at you got
Got
like
a
a little
little
drink,
dispenser?
little
That's
this drink.
dope.
Yeah,
Dude,
the,
that's
the
fucking
mix.
cool.
See, look at it. It's like a whole like little mix thing. And I love mixed drinks. I'm not a big beer guy. I'll do the seltzers. I like the seltzers, but
That's pretty dope.
That's pretty bitchin'.
yeah,
That's cool.
bitchin'. I love that you said bitchin'.
It's one of my favorite terms. I like dope. I like bitchin'.
I say dope way too much.
Yeah, I know.
Fire, bro. It's like if you don't know I'm a stoner, like talk to me for 5 minutes. And then
It's like tell me you listen to Joe Rogan without telling me you listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Bro. No, I'm just kidding.
it's a disciple.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So-
I got off the rails with
You're good.
that. You were talking about conversation.
Yeah, I was saying how like in podcasts, and I've probably said it 1,000 times on podcasts, is like if you didn't plan to sit down and have conversations like this, they would never happen, or they would happen so rarely. And me personally, I value those kind of conversations where you talk in depth about something unobstructed by TV, phone, cooking dinner. Like I mean, there's all these like distractions. And I feel like this is a good way to have no distractions. And I value this time so much because I feel like this is where most people learn from. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I miss doing the podcast because, like you said, you shut down for like an hour and then you kind of just get going, and it forces you to really think about things. And yeah, it's great, man. I think you're right, though. I think people would be a lot better off if they could have more conversations like this. I know one thing for me, I love going out to dinner, but I cannot stand when I'm sitting there and everybody's on their fucking phone.
It's horrible.
And I know like a lot of people talk about that, but I love the game where everybody puts their phone in the middle, somebody touches it, you got to buy a round of drinks.
Yeah.
And like I feel like every time I do that at dinner, it makes the dinner 10 times better. It becomes almost like a little podcast.
That's dope. I've never had a game like that before. Well, too many people. I mean, so I feel like that's why podcasts are so popular, is because so many people are starved of conversation, and they're able to plug that gap. And then I feel like just too many people don't participate in those kind of conversations, so it's hard for them to express themselves. And I feel like half of the problem with people being super awkward is they don't know how to express themselves. And I feel like if you talk more about things, like, you're gonna fuck up, you're gonna say some shit that's like, maybe the moon landing was fake, or maybe 9/11 was a conspiracy, you know what I mean? Like, that's
Hopefully that doesn't get clipped,
if it does, it does. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with being wrong,
too,
and like humans are constantly evolving things that are supposed to make mistakes. And so like I just don't agree with the whole cancel culture stuff, with like somebody says something and you just never let them live it down. Humans are constantly evolving, and I feel like there's too many people. Like, I don't know about you, when I started the podcast, I was hella nervous that I was going to be on the front page news as like a guy who like said the word retarded or something.
Yeah.
Like just ostracized for it. And I'm like, and then once we started doing it, and I've done this is like 55 podcasts now that are posted. Like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, obviously there's things that like I think that people shouldn't say. But
yeah, you probably shouldn't drop the N-word or something.
Right.
Not saying that you say that. Not saying that you say that.
But I mean, that's just a social thing.
There's certain things, but at the same time, like, if somebody's gonna get pissed at you because you said maybe the moon landing is fake, like, you don't want to be like,
get out of my face.
But dude, cancel culture, people say this all the time, and I feel like it's kind of buzzy, and I don't mean to like push against you on this. I just have kind of noticed it lately, like sitting back and thinking about it. Cancel culture is real for the people that care about CNN, NBC, like, but like, there's so many comics right now that have done like really fucked up stuff that, maybe they're not in the mainstream anymore, but their podcasts are doing better than ever. They're selling out shows. They've been canceled, and they're still having a great career. And then there's like celebrities that, okay, supposedly you get canceled, and it's like, and then a few years go by and everybody kind of
I feel like cancel culture
They're just like, oh, it's okay now.
I feel like that the peak of cancel culture is behind us, which is good. Which is good.
We overcorrect way too much.
Yeah,
as a society.
I think that the way that things are talked about, and how, like, I mean, a lot of doing a podcast is thinking on the spot. You know what I mean? And sometimes I'll listen back to a podcast and be like, well, that was fucking stupid. Why'd I say that? Or why'd I think that? Or, maybe I should have let that other person talk more, clarify more. And like, going back to what you said about jiu-jitsu, every time you do one, you like take a chunk where you learn about it, and it's like, had I done XYZ, maybe it would have turned out differently, but you just, you can't, you just got to keep rolling with it.
Yeah. And you gotta watch, just from experience of doing a podcast too, and something I fell into a lot, and like, it's hard not to be hard on yourself, but at the same time, you've only done 55 episodes.
It's not that many.
And it's, Joe Rogan fucks up all the time, and he's into the thousands.
It's 1900 or whatever. Like,
and you talk about it, the conversation, the skill. Podcasting is a skill. And you are probably like a blue belt right now, If
that.
Like, exactly.
I think my jiu-jitsu belt and my my podcasting belt would be the same. I am a 2-stripe white belt.
A 2-stripe white belt.
Like, I feel like, I mean, but then, I'm super hard on myself and being like, oh, I wish we had more cameras, a video changer. I wish we had internet, like all these things. And then I look at it and I'm like, there's some people that, like, I talk to people all the time. They're like, I wish I even just had a podcast. And like, they're just terrified to start. I'm like, that's why that quote's so important to me, that you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great, because that's the hardest part of everything, is just getting started. And then, like, same thing for jiu-jitsu. I waited for like 2 years before I started jiu-jitsu, because it's the hardest part, is getting started on something new.
No, it definitely is. I wish I would have started jiu-jitsu a lot earlier, but you got to start when you start.
Everyone says it.
It is what it is. Like, you'll start when it's the right time for you. And
then I'll be whipping Ryan's ass.
And but you'll be saying the same thing, though.
Oh, 100%.
You'll be saying the same thing. You'll be like, I wish I would have started 2 years sooner.
100%.
Yep.
But you didn't, and you got to do what you got to do.
It is what it is.
That goes back to that famous Joe Rogan thing that they clipped from his episode. He's like, bitch, shut up. You didn't. You didn't start. You started now.
Yeah.
Go with what you're doing now.
Go with what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's part of jiu-jitsu. Like, you just got to move on. Like, you fucked up, you got tapped. Like, you can't do anything about it. Like, let it go, move on. And I feel like that's kind of part of it too. Is like, I have to let go of the fact that, yeah, I'm probably not going to be a Gordon Ryan or a Nicky Rodriguez because I didn't start when I was 18.
But you get to be a Rob Young.
Yeah, but I can be a super badass, like, dude, I can get my black belt. I can probably open a gym one day. I think that's like long term, really, with martial arts, is like, I've kept it in my life. I'd like to get to a point where I've made enough money and put away like enough that one day I'll be fine, and then just transfer into making money doing like martial arts or something like that.
That's kind of like, that gets more into the philosophy of how you live your life too. And I feel like too many people don't have a philosophy. They just kind of go by outside noises of what's happening in their life. I feel like my philosophy in life is like, I have no desire to retire. Retirement to me means...
I do.
No, well, it depends on what you mean by retirement.
That is, yeah.
Because in the traditional sense, retirement means you stop working and you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, you're going to wait 30 to 40 years for that?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Like, why wouldn't you just start doing it now and live on less?
Yeah.
Like, I would rather do that. I'd rather spend the extra $200 a month on jiu-jitsu and thoroughly enjoy it, and then by the time I'm retired, I'm a black belt and I can open up my own gym. Or to me, retirement just means financial freedom, and the sooner I can achieve financial freedom, the better. But also, like, I'd rather reach financial freedom later in life if that means I got to enjoy it the whole time. Because I'm not going to wait to live my life until I'm retired. That's just that's idiotic to me. But if you follow the traditional sense of what society does, I mean, that's what you would do. You'd wait to do I'm going to become a yoga instructor when I'm 60 because I retired, and now I'm going to start doing that. And it's like, why wouldn't you just do yoga on the weekends and do it when you can? And I don't know.
It doesn't matter what it is. If you follow the mainstream narrative, you're going to go down the wrong path. It doesn't matter if it's health. It doesn't matter if it's finances. Even like marriage and relationships and stuff. A lot of shit they perpetuate is wrong. Not really wrong, I guess. It was right 20 years ago. Yeah. And that's
and right is, I mean, it has its own problems.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right too. But like, as far as diet and all this stuff, anything that's coming out of academia right now is like 20 years behind. Yeah. Because academia takes time. Like, they'll get data and they got to wait till it's published. It takes like 2 years till it's published. And then, okay, it's published and now it's got to be peer reviewed. And then once it gets to the thing, then it's like 5 years down the road, somebody puts it in a textbook. Then it takes 5 years for that textbook and it's like, by the time that information reaches the college students that are taking it, it's 10 to 15 years behind.
Right.
And I think that's what we see with diet a lot now too, is there's like such a cutting edge, and now academia is just starting to wake up to the fact that fat's not bad for you.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, okay, I've been saying that for 15 years. What's going on?
Right. Well, like one of the things when we were talking about like marriage and stuff earlier in the podcast, I think that the big problem with like spending a shit ton of money on your weddings, and one of the things that Dave Ramsey says, and it's just from my experience is true, like my parents had like a nice wedding. Like a lot of people 20, 30 years ago spent the 2 car payments or two total amounts of cars on their wedding, and then it didn't divorce.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no direct correlation with how much money you spend on your wedding and how successful the wedding is. In fact, it's probably an opposite correlation where it's like the more you spend, the less likely you are going to be to stay married for a long time. And I was like, that to me made a lot of sense.
Culturally, I feel like the wedding is it's almost like the goalpost for people when really it's the starting line. And the celebration should be more like, we're going to so-and-so's 10-year anniversary. We're going to blow it out. Like, that should be where the money is spent. And that's how I kind of view it. Like, if 10 years down the line, if everything goes, it doesn't have to go according to plans. Plans change. But I feel like at least somewhat of the path I'm on, if I stay in somewhat of that direction, I'm going to have a good amount of money that I can actually throw a couple car payment party and it doesn't like destroy my life or like press pause on things. Because that was the point, is like we were going to have to pause our lives to have a wedding. Like we're going to have to wait. Like I really want to take advantage, like whether or not people, if you talk to, real estate and stuff, I know you're getting your license, but it's going to dip soon. I think as Florida, it's definitely not going to dip as hard. My buddy I was talking to the other day, there's still a ton of people moving here and want to live here. And I think when the recession, like they finally started admitting it, like I think we've been in a recession for a while, but once they start admitting it and things really start caving in. I think a lot more people are going to move to Florida because there's going to be more opportunity. But overall, I think the prices are going to go down, and I don't want to miss that dip because I had a huge fucking wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. No, I can completely understand that. I think that too many people get married, and that's why, and they've normalized. It's like the jewelry industry. The jewelry industry is almost completely propped up on the fact that people get married.
Yeah.
And I mean, the things that are harder to achieve in life, such as a black belt or such as 50 years of marriage, those are the things that almost nobody does. So because almost nobody does those things, it's hard to create an industry around those things.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are the things that are really fruitful in life is like, I talk to a lot of old people, and every time I talk to old people that have been married for a long ass time, they live very modestly. They've always lived below their income level. They drive used older cars. Like they only buy something if they have the money to do it, and have excess to do that. And I don't know. It's just like the people that have been married for a long time. Those are the ones I envy. And those are the things that I want out of my life. I want the things that very few people do that are incredibly hard, but incredibly rewarding to get to. And too many people, they want to look good for others. They want to be able to have that $7,000 wedding photography so they can post that really good picture on Instagram so they can get a couple hundred likes. And I'm like,
when you put it like that, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you're going to spend $7,000 for likes. That's what you're paying for.
So
Really. And that's really what the photos are for. They're for likes because they're not really for you.
Yeah.
People like that's what my parents said. My dad's like, don't spend that. He's like, we never look at our wedding photos.
Yeah.
Ever. And they have like full albums that are just sitting around the house and they never even open them. But yeah, I mean, culturally, and you're talking about that with like the people, that's like, it doesn't matter if it's marriage, it doesn't matter if it's money, it doesn't matter if it's health. Pretty much don't do the sexy thing and you're doing the right thing. Like investing, most people are not going to become rich day trading. Most people are not going to hit it big on crypto. But if you just invest $200 a month for 20, 30 years in a funds or index things that yield 10 to 15%, you're going to be a fucking millionaire one day.
Right. But it's not sexy when you drive used cars. It's not sexy when you you buy shirts from Goodwill. It's not sexy when you go like, oh, I had to buy this on sale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just not.
So I have a different
sexy.
mindset with clothes, I think, than like, I don't like buying cheap clothes. I actually have started, because I'm being more mindful of my money, I've actually started buying more expensive clothes. My wardrobe is like slowly becoming Lululemon. And I know it's like, but the reason I like Lululemon is not because it's like
so nice. They last forever.
That's the thing. It lasts forever.
I have two pairs of Lululemon shorts.
I have the same pair, my first pair of Lululemon shorts that like my aunt bought for me when I was like getting out of high school. It was like way early in the Lululemon game. I still have them and they still look fine.
I got mine used.
I guess, yeah. If you're picking up Lulu on secondhand, that's really good.
That's what we get a lot of our stuff from, is from secondhand place where like old rich people throw their old clothes,
Yeah.
But like I understand, I spend a little bit more money. I think there's a difference between like going to Dillard's and buying like name brand shit there for full price, for MSRP, you know what I mean? And then I think that there's a difference between that and then like I like to buy nicer clothes because I'm gonna have them for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then like these shorts I'm wearing currently, I got them from Amazon and I was like, wow, they're only like, was it like $35 for 2 pairs of shorts? And I fucking hate these shorts. These are the shorts I wear when like it's laundry day, you know what I mean? And like the shorts that I actually spend money on, I'll have them for 5 years. So I can understand that. I'm more or less like talking about the people who buy like Gucci and like spend full price. And
Definitely. Yeah. I don't know, man. Well, you gotta flex on them, bro. Like, what's the point, man?
Flex on these hoes.
What's the point of living, bro? How are you gonna get a good dime piece if you're not a top G, bro?
That's the clip right there.
Hit him with the top G.
He got out. They released him finally.
Yeah.
That is one thing. Like, if you really look into it, all the shit was bullshit
It's
about him.
fucked. Yeah.
Like,
Am I Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty fucked up. But
I don't know much about him, to be honest.
he was like a kickboxer.
And then they did some, I wouldn't say call it shady business.
It's shady business.
It's a little bit shady.
It's shady.
Like they ran cam girl websites.
Dude, it's shady. It's sin business. There's sin businesses.
But
If you
over in
own a
Romania
liquor store,
yeah.
a casino, like,
Yeah.
and he owns a casino.
Yeah, multiple.
Yeah. They're
they've done business with shady people.
He also
For sure.
Adult entertainment and
Yeah.
gambling, I would say, are both
Yeah.
shady businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and doesn't he also? He sounds like the Top G or whatever it is, the like school where you can sign up for
Yeah,
like fucking,
Hustlers
Hustlers
University.
University.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
basically just teaching people how to drop ship and invest in crypto.
Yeah.
But
and how to day trade and all that.
yeah,
right. Which I'll be honest, man. Like there was a guy the other day. So after jujitsu, me and so basically the whole school we went like two buildings over, and there's a Crunch Fitness.
Yeah.
And we went
That's
to the
right.
sauna.
You're right there in that
Yeah.
that complex right in Bloomingdale, right?
Yeah. So we went to the sauna there, and we were hanging out in the sauna, and these other dudes came in, and we're wearing like spats and fucking rash guards and shit, and flip flops. You know what I mean? Like, and so these dudes come in, and this one guy comes in, and he goes, "Let me guess, you guys just got done doing jiu-jitsu?" And we're like, "Yeah, bro, that's what we got done just doing." And the next thing you know, he's like, we're talking to him about it. The guy who owns the place, he's trying to convince him to come and stuff like that. And we're talking to him about these things, and he's talking about like he would, but he's he's trying to focus on his business that he has. He's an entrepreneur, and we're like, okay, what does your business do? And then he just started like saying buzzwords, and I was like at the end of it, like we let him talk. Because of the podcast, I'm pretty good about listening to people and trying to like shut the fuck up and let them talk. And so I was just letting him talk, and I'm like, he's just saying nonsense right now.
Yeah.
And not only is he just saying nonsense, like, what does your business do, bro? You have not once said yet how you make money. Like, what are you doing? And then I was like, so wait. What kind of products do you guys sell? And he's like, oh, like supplements. And I'm like, oh, you're like one of them Herbalife guys.
Yeah, those pyramid schemes. That's basically what he's doing. He's he created a pretty good pyramid scheme. Like the way he got popular on the internet was actually very smart. Is
He spent a lot of money marketing himself to blow up instantly.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Like the Liver King.
Yeah.
Like I think he's talked about it before, but he's spent a lot of money getting the.
It was a very like concerted effort.
Yeah.
And the smart thing that he did was basically if you got somebody signed up for Hustlers University, you got like $5, and I think it's residual. I think you get like a certain percentage of it every month that person stays in. So that's why people were clipping everything.
Quite literally an MLM, also known as a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, multi-level marketing. Yeah, no, that was definitely, dude. I got somebody got me to one of those presentations one time. I was so fucking pissed. This dude reaches out to me on LinkedIn, which if you're perpetuating a pyramid scheme on LinkedIn, get the fuck off of there. Like,
That's not what that's for.
Like, I don't know. And he like came to me, and it was like very professional the way we talked about it. And I literally like one of the first things I said to him was like, "I'm not selling protein, bro." He's like, "It's not protein. It's like this
lifestyle.
It's aminos.
That's what this guy told us in the sauna. He's like, I sell lifestyle products, and I was like,
Nope.
I'm done.
I'm done. No, but he had this whole talk track around. There was like a side of the business where you basically were like trying to get your family and friends to order online through this like website that also like was connected to like Home Depot, and like he was saying all these big name stores that was connected to this site. It was like a very small, like niche part of the business, and he made it seem like it was the whole thing. And then I get there, and the first slide in the presentation is like, "Check out this protein that we were gonna sell," and I'm like, I like. It was so hard for me not to just like walk up to the dude and be like, "Bro, fuck you," and leave.
Because they're taking advantage of dumb people. I mean, in all honesty, like not saying that you're dumb for going there, but most of the people.
I was kind of dumb for going there.
But
I should have known.
But most of the people who do those things, they get people who they sell them on a dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you want to be
Because
a
everybody
top
wants
G.
to be an entrepreneur.
Everybody wants to be Andrew Tate or Joe Rogan. Well, Joe Rogan doesn't do that kind of shit. But the majority of what they go for is they go for people who lack confidence and that maybe don't do a martial art, or that they have dreams. Everybody wants to be rich. So if you tell somebody, hey, you become part of this, and you too could be like me. Anytime when they do some shit like that, where it's like, here's this guy and here's this boat, and if they spend more time trying to convince you to be a part of their program than they do on actually talking about what the business does, that's how you know you're a part of a shit business.
It's like Andrew Tate was a very good spokesman for hustlers, because like if you spend $50 and you make $100, you got your money back. Yeah. So I mean, it's a good marketing spiel.
No, definitely. And I think when you get to the core of what Tate is talking about, he's like, it's kind of funny. He's like, don't fucking drink or smoke.
Yeah.
He's like,
Work out.
weak dudes fucking drink or smoke. I'm like, okay, bro, I'll be a little weak.
On occasions.
On occasions.
Yeah.
And then
Be healthy.
be healthy. Like, don't fuck around with like hoes at the club.
Yeah.
Like, and then he does say some crazy stuff. But even he said, he's like, I was trying to be viral, and he's like, and that ended up biting me in the ass.
Yeah.
And he said some things that maybe were, or he exaggerated things. But I don't know, man. That's the thing that I tried to get away from, and the thing I've noticed since YouTube and Instagram. It's not Tate, it's not all that shit, but I'm much more in control of my life when I'm off of social media. And I think people don't realize the control that they give to social media. They think, oh, I'm just on it, and I'm just, I'm looking at memes and I'm looking at friends, and it's like, well, those advertisements are still coming across your feed. Those fucking booty pics and all that kind of stuff. Like, everybody talks about how porn is destroying relationships, and what is the difference of going and watching a video of some chick that you're never going to meet in your life, some porn star that you would never, if you met them in real life, you'd be like, I'm not fucking this chick.
Yeah.
Or going and seeing whatever your girls, like friends or something, that are posting thirst traps all the time, and like people that you actually know, that like girls that you grew up with that are posting freaking thong pics on the thing that you could actually have a conversation with,
Or OnlyFans or shit like that.
and dude, like that's what
It's a
Instagram,
hollow pursuit.
that's what Instagram is like. And I don't know, man, I just,
And each swipe is a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Swipe.
And dude, anytime, I don't know about you guys, but anytime I meet somebody who is completely free of social media, I envy that person.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like, there's a girl that we do jujitsu with, and dude, she is so cool. Like, and she literally, we were like, oh, do you have any Instagram? She's like, oh, actually, I'm not on any social media. And I'm like, she knows how to like play the piano and like the ukulele.
have
like,
so much
she's-
more time for shit.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's insane. Like when people
think about how many hours people spend on social media every day if
Bro.
they just like picked up piano
Yeah.
and
It's
put that many hours into it.
It's my favorite thing ever when I tell somebody that we don't have internet, and they're like, this is. We literally had this recently. Like this one person was like,
How do you order Uber Eats?
wait, what? Like no internet? And I was like,
I mean, to be fair, you
we have
data.
internet on our phone.
You have data.
Yeah, but even just having data, you realize
You're
like
limited for sure.
yeah. I mean, even if it's, I mean, I think it's 60 to 70% less
Yeah.
like internet usage that we do here at this house because of that.
Yeah.
Like I notice when I go to like a relative's house or anybody where I'm like your house, if I have the internet, I'm like all of a sudden like, wow, everything loads faster.
Yeah.
I'm less agitated because it's just like the video is just immediately loading.
Yeah.
Like if I go to show somebody, if I'm out and I'm on data and I go to show somebody a video and it just goes gray and my screen has to sit there and load, or I have to like refresh it a couple different ways. Like it's stuff that most people don't have. They don't get to the end of their data on their cell phone plan. And I'm like, bitch, I'm on the end of that thing every time. I pretty much know when the billing cycle is by how fast my internet loads.
Yeah.
And I'm like, most people don't have to experience that. And I tell somebody I don't have internet, and they're literally like, how do you survive? And I'm like, fucking, it's pretty easy. I grew up without internet until I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
It's not bad at all.
You get used to it. Yeah.
The social media thing is nice, and getting away from it. So part of like why I've slowed down on like the content creation and stuff is like I kind of lost. I'm not able to access my Instagram anymore, and the account that I used, the email that I used was like a business email that I set up, and I don't have access to anymore. So I can't.
Did you like forget the password or something?
Yeah, I can't figure it out. So I have not been. I have not logged into Wellness Rob, and like I have like a very small. Like I made a new Instagram that like I'm trying to keep under like that number 150 people. Like I don't want to follow more than 150 people, and I try to make it only people that I've met in person. But I'm barely even on it. I think I posted like 2 things, and I haven't been on it in weeks now. But yeah, I like couldn't get back into Wellness Rob, and then like I took a break for a while, and I was like, this is kind of nice.
I kind of like this more. Yeah.
Like I work in sales, and like my sales started going up, and that's the thing too, is I've kind of like taken a lot of the chatter out of my life. And as far as like the things that actually matter to me, like my career, my relationships, and like jujitsu, have all gotten better by me getting off of social media.
Yeah, it gives you like even if it's 5% more attention that you put into those things, like that compounds. I mean, we all know the difference. I mean, well, not all. I guess one of the things in finance is you know the difference between a 10% rate of return and a 15% rate of return is a lot of fucking
That's
money
a
over time.
big fucking difference.
And most people don't consider that with their time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't consider that with their time. And I'm guilty of it too. I know that social media is a drug. And like I'm
an addict.
100%.
I'm an addict for sure.
And am I as bad as most people? No, but
Still.
Like I'm getting to the point where like
But most people.
the idea that I'm
That's
20,
like saying like, you know, I'm in better shape than most people.
but like you get to the point where like if you I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this is like the world is a better place when you're not on social media and you're not consuming the same things
Well, you're
that everyone
actually
else does.
in the world.
Yes. Yeah, like all of a sudden like wow, people aren't as bad as you think they are. I mean, people do suck sometimes, but like I feel like there's just the positivity boost you get in life. One of my goals is once I finish my real estate license and I have that, I plan on pretty much quitting doing social media as far as a consumer goes of social media.
Yeah.
I want to do the post and ghost thing. I want to literally put a video out and just forget that I even like have an account. It would literally to add content for people to see because I want to be the person who doesn't participate in that content.
Yeah. See, but that's hard though, because to actually get the engagement, you have to comment on the post and you got to share it and you got to talk to the people and you got to share other people's things. And it's the problem that I had with it is, especially in the content creation, is like it almost gave me an excuse to be on Instagram. It's like, oh,
that's my job.
I'm
I
a
got to.
content creator.
Yeah.
I got a podcast. And it's like, bro, you're looking up fucking like random like government memes. Like,
Yeah, right.
You're not actually like studying wellness and doing things that.
Yeah, you get going on Reels and you're like, it's been an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beautiful part though about
Real quick.
social media and how it is the competition between social media companies is like huge. It's probably more than it's ever been before, and I feel like that adds a lot of like maybe I don't have to get on there and comment and stuff because people, if they like the video enough, like I had one video that I posted that got like 40,000 plus views, and I didn't comment on it. I didn't share it around or anything like that. I literally like I put it out in the ether. I guess I posted it at the right time and the right people saw it and it was the right message and just people just shared the shit out of it. I'm guilty of like Colton knows this. I share a lot of content.
Like I usually look at all of my group chat at the end of the night and I'll have to scroll and it's like 25 messages and they're just like boom, boom,
And
boom,
it's
boom,
almost
boom.
all of them from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Because like I see something funny, I'm like, this reminds me of my buddies.
Yeah.
They think this is
And
funny.
then you start ripping, and it's like 5 videos, and you've shared like 5 of them, and it's like, oh fuck.
yeah. And so you know, and I get that I'm not the only one that's like that. There's a ton of people that do that. So I don't know.
It's funny though because sometimes I can tell like what you're doing at the time that you're sharing. Like sometimes it feels like I know when you go poop. You know what I mean?
Right.
Cause, like because I get like a dump of group chat.
double dump.
I'm like, I know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've done that I feel like helps mitigate how much social media I go on is I don't have my notifications turned on for social media.
Yeah, that
turn that
helps
shit
a
off.
lot.
It helps
You know what helped a ton when it helps a lot is turn your screen on your phone to black and white. I heard that on a thing. It like takes away a lot of the dopamine from it. Like a lot of it's just colors and stimulation. And once you don't have that stimulation, it's just like things are a little bit more dull. So you're like, okay, cool. Well, I want to look at colors. I don't want to look at black and white.
That's not a bad fucking
Yeah,
idea. That
Kelly-
makes sense.
Kelly saw that a couple days ago and was trying that out.
It helps. It helps a lot. Like my screen time definitely went down when I was doing that.
My biggest
That is
thing
that is a huge thing.
I like watching Twitch streams.
Yeah.
So I'll have those playing at work. That's pretty much the only thing that I it's like a podcast for me.
Everybody's got their things, and if it's like a podcast, that's one thing. Is I'm not going to stay off YouTube forever. And I still have YouTube. I watch it on my Apple TV at home. But it's like, it's nice because I don't have as much time in front of my TV. So when I get on that, I'm only watching the things that I really want to watch.
And you enjoy them 10
Yeah.
times more.
Yeah.
Like that's like my wife and I, when we sit down and we watch Netflix here, like because we do it so rarely, like we only have about 20 minutes that we can stay focused on it because we're literally like, I've been sitting for too long. I'll fall asleep, or it has to be that engaging of a show where I'm just like hanging on the fucking edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Like we're watching Peaky Blinders right now.
Ooh, it's good.
Dude, it's
I watched
so
the first.
good.
I think I watched the first 3 seasons a while ago, and
Same.
I need to get back into it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so good.
It takes you like
so good.
it takes you like 4 episodes to really start hearing what they're
Yeah.
actually saying.
Like
Dude,
subtitles.
it's like one of those shows. So I watched it before her and I started dating. I watched like the first season. I think it was like right when it was brand new.
Yeah.
And I remember getting into it and I'm like, I don't know what the half the fucking things that they said were because they're all like incredibly thick.
It's the Nottingham. It's Nottingham, right? Or is it
Birmingham.
Birmingham. Yeah.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
So it's these like heavy ass heavy ass British accents.
It's
And,
basically like redneck British people.
Yeah.
So it's like
you know, it's like what the
The
fuck did he just say?
peaky fucking blind.
Yeah, it's but bro, it's when you start watching with subtitles, you're like, wow, I totally didn't think he said that.
Yeah.
Like if I had just been listening, I definitely would. I don't know. Have you ever looked at the statistics of people who watch TV with subtitles now?
a ton of people do. I
Dude,
mean, we
the-
just were
the
watching a
younger
movie
people get-
last night
yeah.
because the girls were mad because me and my buddy kept talking, and then the girls we were watching the movie with are like, "Can you guys shut up?" And so like we put on subtitles and we kept talking.
Dude, it's almost like I feel like. Have you ever said the thing like I do this to my wife sometimes? Like I have to turn the music down. I can't see
Yeah.
when I'm driving.
Yeah.
And like I don't know why it is, but it's like
Everybody
I can't
shut up.
Yeah, like I'm backing out of a parking spot. Don't talk to me. I can't just ignore you.
But it's overstimulation. I
It
think.
is.
Yeah.
100%.
And I feel like when I watch a movie now, if it doesn't have subtitles, I feel like I'm overwhelmed because I can't read it at the same time.
I don't know what's going on.
Like literally, I go to a movie theater and I'm like, can we how do I get subtitles on this?
See, I don't like subtitles though. Like it's I hate it. I hate
It depends for
That's
me.
why I can't watch anime. Like I like the visuals and like I think like the artwork and stuff. I don't know. Anime is a little weird though sometimes. Sometimes I'm watching it and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
pretty pedophilic. What's going on? But overall, like everybody's like, you gotta watch anime, you gotta watch anime, you gotta watch anime. And I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, I don't want to read the whole time. Like I kind of want to shut my when I'm watching something. I'm one of those people when I watch something, I like to shut my brain off.
Oh.
Like we were watching Shameless, and that show's just like way too fucking dark. And I got to a point where I was like, dude, it's not making me feel better when I watch it.
It's a weird show.
Yeah, like I like watching. Like we just started Park and Rec again. Like
Oh, dude, so good.
Park and Rec, New Girl, Modern Family, Office. Just put one of those on, and I just want to shut down for like a minute and giggle a couple times.
Don't you feel better about your life when you watch those shows too?
Yeah, I feel way better about my life. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I The Office was that way for me.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec too. It's like I can literally just like have it playing in the background while I'm doing
Yeah.
monotonous chores, and I'm literally just like, I don't know, man. Anytime Chris Pratt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just that's my boy.
Once you know the characters too, it's not really about the plot. It's about the development of the characters. So like with The Office, I don't know all the plot lines of The Office. I've never sat down and watched it all the way through. It was always something like in college where smoking Office is on, or like whenever I'm at somebody's house, like they'll have it on. And so like throughout time, I know the characters. But just the other night, we sat down and watched The Office, and like it was hilarious. I had never seen those episodes, but I understood it the whole time.
Yeah.
And I got the jokes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and that's one of the good parts about TV shows like that. And then, so watching Peaky Blinders, like it's death and despair and family problems and stuff like that. So
It's
I
a
have
roller
to take
coaster,
it,
bro.
Yeah, I have to take it in doses.
Bro,
Like
you-
Breaking Bad, like when I watched that and I finished it. And I literally got to the end, and I was like depressed that the storyline was like over. I was like legitimately
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
depressed.
you gotta have like withdrawals from the show.
It's a legit thing.
That's how Sons of Anarchy was for me.
Yeah.
See, I like Sons of Anarchy. I think I watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes, and I was watching it with it was like my last year of college, and like we were all watching it together. And then I forget why. I think it was like kickboxing or something. I just was like, they started watching, they got ahead of me, and I was just like, forget it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sons of Anarchy got to a point where I was like, dude, does every deal go bad? Like you guys are pretty bad.
How
at
did you guys
your-
get this good if
Yeah.
you can't make good business deals?
Yeah, it seems like everyone goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever just like meet somebody, sell some guns, and walk away from it?
It's one of those where you have to give it a couple seasons for it to thicken up. Like I keep trying to tell him to watch 24.
Okay, I never watched 24.
I watched. I gave it 15
I
episodes.
told
cold.
you have to get through the first season.
The first season, 16 episodes.
but
24
Sons of
episodes.
Anarchy,
God
I
damn it.
liked Sons of Anarchy right away, and I got like
Yeah.
3 episodes. How many seasons? There's like 7 seasons total,
7, I
right?
think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I got to season 4,
Yeah.
and then that's when I dropped off. And then I watched like the last
Yeah.
episode, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Dude, when I had COVID, I legitimately gave 24. I mean, I think if you give something 2 12-hour days,
I told you the first season, man, the production value goes up so much to the next season.
and I believe you. I
There's a
just
lot
can't
of shows like
dedicate-
that, though.
I
You ever
can't
watch
dedicate
season
it.
1 of Sunny in Philadelphia?
Is it shit?
It's not that good.
No.
But then Frank doesn't come in, like Danny DeVito doesn't come in until season 2, and then that's when it really like picks up.
Oh. Well, so this TV show, like it's not that I don't believe Colton. I really believe it. It's like I can't. It's like
it's
it's
probably
too much
one of my
investment.
all-time favorite TV shows.
And I believe you, and I believe that it's great. But you have to watch the first season to get the stuff
Yeah.
in the second season.
Yeah.
And I gave it 2 strong full days in going back to like what we were just talking about. Like
15 episodes is a lot to have
and
to
I
get
will
into a
say-
show. That's like the people that are like, you got to read this 800-page book, but it doesn't get good until page 200.
yeah,
And I will
yeah.
say that there's a lot of character development, and there's a lot of not filler but important shit that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
It's like a governmental like they're a counter-terrorist
Yeah.
unit. So there's a lot of kind of boring shit that leads up to the oh shit, it's going down.
The thing that had me turned off in the first season was like the amount of stuff that happened where it's like, okay, that's a little fucking outlandish.
And like I said, it's because it's the first season.
Yeah. And I believe you, and maybe one day I'll watch it, but probably not. In the same instance. That's just a lot of time to dedicate to something.
I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna
The
watch
bad
it.
part is each season is 24 episodes.
Yeah.
And there's 8 seasons.
That's a lot.
And each episode is almost an hour. It was an hour
Oh,
of...
it is? I
Yeah.
thought it was a quick show.
No, it's an
'Cause
hour
it's
of...
a 24. So one season is one day. So they
Yeah.
do each episode is an hour
Oh.
of the 24 hours.
think this
That can be really slow.
Yeah. This
is when
Especially if you're trying to do character development
Yeah, it
over
takes
a 24-hour
long
period.
time.
So each episode's about 45 minutes
Yeah.
because it's an hour of like TV, so it had commercial breaks. So it was filmed for that, and it's what started in the early 2000s.
Yeah, like 02
No,
or
I remember
something.
when it was on TV.
Yeah,
and
it came
stuff,
on
yeah.
in Fox like a long time ago.
and it was like a big TV show
Yeah,
for Fox back
it
then.
was huge.
No, I remember it was a big deal. I just
Yeah.
never watched it.
Yeah.
And I believe, Colton, it's just so
I
much
know.
investment
It-
time
it-
to
it
start.
Did you
takes-
start watching it on regular TV? Like, did you start watching it with your parents or something?
No,
when you were
I didn't
younger?
watch it until I don't even remember how I started watching it. It was just one of those. Oh, it's a terrorism show. I'll start watching it, and there was already like 7 seasons out.
It's probably one of the original ones back in the day
Yeah.
where it's like, this is the FBI. And
Yeah.
they're like-
FBI.
You know what I mean? Like his office is on the 2nd floor, and he looks over everybody. And I don't know. There's something super like dramatized about that too, because I feel like that's not how the actual CIA is.
Yeah.
But it's like it's up. But another thing too is like when I had COVID and I watched that TV show for like 12 hours straight, I literally at the end of the day I was like depressed.
Yeah, it's a fucked up show.
And it really wasn't that fucked up, but I feel like it was just like seeing 12 hours of like a life or death situation TV show where like people are running and it's high stress and it's high cortisol producing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. At the end of it, I was just like, I don't feel good. Like, I
Yeah.
feel gross right now. Like, I need to go take a shower.
See, that's like a comfort show for me.
Yeah. See, that one's
Yeah.
not. Like, I like
Yeah.
silly little like, oh
I
my
get that,
god, I
though.
love these
See,
waffles.
I never
You
got
know what
into
I mean?
The
Parks and
Office,
Rec.
so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I never watched The Office, never watched Parks and Rec. I just
Dude, I've watched
those
The
kind
Office.
Of shows just kind of annoy me.
I watched The Office probably
You like some
7
substance.
times.
I do. I like
Yeah.
like
You like being,
thriller,
like,
like
yeah.
plot development. I want it to be.
See, I'm a huge comedy fan. Love comedies. My favorite kind of movies are funny.
I like the serious, like The Wire or
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy or Breaking Bad, stuff like that.
Dude, you know what movie is like one of the that fits all of those categories and was a great movie for me was what the fuck? It's it's the something citizen, Law Abiding Citizen.
Dude,
That's a great one.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the movie?
Yeah, Law Abiding Citizen. With
I
Gerard
remember
Butler
seeing
and-
that in the theaters. Yeah, that fucked me up.
That was
Dude,
that was rough.
That's one of those movies you like walk out or like you get done seeing and you're just like, whoa.
And you understand. You're like,
You're like, because you feel for the guy. You
Yeah.
feel like that's how I would be in that kind of situation. My
Yeah.
wife and daughter like got killed in front of me. Or
another one. Have you seen Death Sentence
No, I haven't seen
with
that one.
Kevin Bacon?
No,
You need to watch. Death
but it's
Sentence.
got Kevin Bacon in it.
That movie. I don't want to ruin the movie, but it's kind of the same scenario. Like a regular dude, his family gets killed, and he just goes from there.
Goes on a rampage.
I mean,
I get it. If I had nothing to
it-
live for, I would just
It hits home.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
It's brutal.
what was the other movie I was going to talk about? Have you ever seen is it Red Sparrow? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
No.
Red the one it's got Jennifer
Lawrence.
Jennifer
yeah.
Lawrence.
I think
And it was like the first
Oh
one.
yeah, she's like a spy and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, is it Red Sparrow? I
think
it's
so.
Red Sparrow.
Yeah.
We saw that one in theaters, and I was like, dude, like at the end of that movie, I was like, there should have been some kind of warning at the beginning to tell you how fucked up this movie is.
Yeah.
like it was insane. That was the first movie she did right after her like nudes had gotten leaked.
Yeah.
and so like she had this like freedom in her acting where she's just like, fuck it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and
First
there was
movie
like
she was nude in.
there was like
and all
nude
that kind of
scenes in
stuff.
it, yeah, with her in it. And but dude, it was so like it was such a dark movie that even those nude scenes, you're literally like,
It was
I was on
rough.
edge, and you don't give
Not
a
the kind
shit.
of nude scenes you want
No.
to see.
No, it was like a borderline rape nude scene.
Like
Yeah.
you have to get naked right now.
It was-
kind of a thing.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
going to be to get raped.
Yeah.
and it was insane, bro,
just
insane
like-
movie, insane. And it was like 3 hours long. I remember
Yeah.
leaving that movie and being like, it's like the Joker. You just watch the Joker with
No, I
Joaquin
never
Phoenix,
watched it. Yeah.
That
bro.
Yeah.
Dude, pretty much like I'm very on the train of I stay away from a lot of negative like entertainment like that. It's
Yeah.
hard.
I like them occasionally.
I mean, I like fucked up shit in different ways. Like I listen to like very aggressive and heavy music that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, but it fucking gets me jacked up.
Yeah.
Like, I like it, and there's like a weird like sub level to my conscious that like
Vibes off that, yeah.
vibes
Yeah.
off it. It's kind of weird, but like as far I don't know. I guess I'm more of like a auditory, but like visual, I can't see it because then it gets burned in my mind.
Yeah. Well, the Joker, I remember leaving that movie and it was still daylight outside. We went to like the hamburger place in Lakeland that was like next to it. And I remember being at that like, hamburger place just like for somebody who talks a shit ton, and I was just dead quiet. And my wife was like, we were just dating at the time. She was like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Bro, I'm a little like fucked up right now."
Not really.
Yeah,
no.
that
No,
movie-
I'm not okay.
That movie, dude. I mean, I think I
you
speak on
okay?
behalf of everyone when I like walked out and I was like, "That's fucking wild."
Well, it's one of those where you understand why they went
because
rampage.
it's the creation of the Joker.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
movie. It's like it's an origin movie. It was so fucking awesome.
I like the counter kind of view of Batman to where Batman's actually the bad guy.
guy,
Like
yeah.
he's like the billionaire beating up on the guy trying to like bring down the government.
He's trying
like,
to steal. He's stealing money, but it's because he has 2 kids at home that are starving. You fucking
Yeah.
dickbag.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Batman is a funny one because it's like this billionaire that basically is like
It's like if
doing whatever he wants.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody. Have you ever heard the joke about the plot of what's the movie called? The movie with Matt Damon. It was like his big movie. Oh,
Bourne?
Goodwill Hunting. It's like if you think about the plot of Batman, it's like anybody who made their own story in their head would be like, "I'm a billionaire."
Yeah.
Like, the only it's like, and then like you make all the story,
I'm
and
a
then someone,
billionaire and I'm a badass.
yeah,
and, like,
and like I'm super like mysterious and like all these things, and then it's like somebody probably read the script and you're like, dude, that's too much. Like, okay, my parents died when I was a kid. You know?
yeah, okay.
well, at least
like-
the first Batman Begins kind of shows him going with Ra's al Ghul
Yeah.
and learning the kind of like it's like
Yeah.
mystical like shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's some kind of like superpower ish to it, but
Yeah.
he's still just a dude.
I think everybody likes Batman because he's not actually like a superhero. Like there's nothing like supernatural about him from
Yeah.
like a physical perspective.
He's
and
just
I
a
think
super disciplined.
everybody's
dude.
like, I could do that. I could be Batman. If I had $1 billion, I'd totally be Batman.
It's like I don't. That's why I don't really care about like the Marvel movies and stuff like that. Like I don't give a fuck about superheroes.
Yeah.
But like TV shows like Arrow. I don't know if you ever heard of Arrow.
It-
It's like the Green Arrow.
I've seen it, but I don't know what it's about.
That's the only one that I kind of liked because it's just a regular dude that learned a bunch of skills.
Yeah.
And then he's going and being like a superhero, but he doesn't have powers.
Is it like a Robin Hood kind of kind of thing?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
Like
there's a
stealing from the
whole-
rich, giving to the needy kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like fighting crime, but
Okay.
he's like Batman, but with a bow and arrow.
With
Yeah.
a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's rich.
That's cool.
But,
I-
it's got good background.
people
and
like
premise
that kind
and
of stuff. That's like
that.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
He's just a super smart rich guy.
Yeah.
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 And then, but in that same instance, fucking Spider-Man is
Yeah,
probably
Spider-Man's
one of my
dope as fuck.
favorite actual superheroes.
Yeah.
Superman, I'm like, oh, he's an alien from another planet.
Yeah.
Fuck that dude.
I thought Tobey Maguire was a great Spider-Man. I just can't get into the other guys.
I couldn't either.
Now, saying that, I think it was.
I thought Tobey Maguire was perfect because
Yeah.
like he still kind of looked nerdy, but at the same time, then he got jacked and he
Yeah.
looked like it. I'm sorry, but I think it's Tom Arnold is the other
Yeah,
one.
he's
Yeah.
too hot. He's too
No,
hot.
Didn't like
Too
that.
hot.
For
Can't
him,
be that hot dude
But
being
for him
Spider-Man.
though, he's so like I don't know. He just has this like meek, tiny personality that like it's almost like watching a chick.
Wait, or Tom Holland?
Tom
or
Holland.
Tom
Yeah.
Holland. I thought you were
Not
talking about
Tom-
what was the second
What's
guy?
the other guy?
I know who you're talking
Andrew Garfield?
Andrew Garfield. Yeah.
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 When he came out, I was like I was so because I grew up with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I was like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, like, no, you're not Spider-Man,
I'm
bitch.
making a statement right now, and I'm not going to see that movie.
I don't know why, but I believe Tobey Maguire can be a badass.
Yeah.
I can't believe the other guys can be badass, and I don't know why. It's like watching. I have a problem with this, and you can call me sexist or not, but I have a problem with watching like secret agent women, and they're like doing all these crazy kicks and like throwing a guy over their shoulder, and like they get punched in the face by a 250-pound man, and they don't get
And they
knocked
shrug it
out.
off.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't get over this. Like,
Right.
Yeah, we just talked about in jiu-jitsu that like a little 120-pound girl can, wiggle around and get on a dude's back and choke him out, but if the dude punches her in the face,
As hard as he can.
You can't take a Francis
No.
Ngannou punch.
No.
I'm just saying, you just can't.
And that's why I feel like watching this Spider-Man sometimes. And I know it's funny because like that's the whole thing. He's supposed to be like a nerd that becomes a superhero. I just can't get into the other guys. I thought Tobey Maguire was perfect.
I did watch the last one with Tom Holland, the one where they had all 3 Spider-Mans, and that's why I went and watched it, is because I'm like, Tobey Maguire comes back as Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I'm about that.
Yeah.
And that's the only one of the Tom Holland ones I've seen. It was a great fucking movie.
It was okay. I heard the Into the Spider-Verse, the animated one. I've never
those are supposed
actually
to be really
watched
good.
it, but I've heard those are great.
Yeah, and I'm like, and there's a little part of me that like, I'm like, it's an animated one? Are you fucking 12? And then I'm like, but I miss that stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, animation's great though, because you kind of can get away with. I love like Rick and Morty. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Family
It's just-
Family Guy can do crazy shit
Like
that
South
you would
Park, all that.
like if Colton and me had the same conversations or said the same stuff that happens in Family Guy, we would be ostracized.
Oh my god.
You know,
Well,
by
South
the-
Park especially.
Yeah. Oh, they have so much freedom.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
South Park goes ham.
Like some of the
Yeah.
video games, like the South Park video games. Like one I'm watching a dude play the difficulty slider. Easy mode is white and hard mode is black. Mm-hmm. Like that changes the color of your character's skin.
That's in
So
in South Park.
the skin slider is the difficulty slider, and it goes from easy to hard and white to black. And it's like,
I mean, that's kind of how
they're
life works.
kind of making a statement about it.
I mean, it's just stuff like that. Like, not many people can do that.
Right. Like, I mean, as fucked up as that might be, it's kind of how life actually is. The darker you are, the harder,
Yeah.
the more like things you're going to have to deal with in your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, bunch of white guys
Yeah.
talking about that. Yeah, no, that sucks. It
mean-
does do a thing. The funniest thing is talking to people that like can't get white privilege around their head.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, like if you don't think we have it, like I'm not saying it's like
Not everyone does, but there's a large majority of
I'm
white
not
people
saying
that, have white
that
privilege.
everything is equal and like we just get everything given to us as white people. Like I'm not saying that. Like you still got to work for things and work hard. And there's
You
definitely
just
like
have less adversity.
impoverished people. Like you talk to my dad who like grew up in the projects of Detroit, and he's like, I don't know what fucking white privilege is, but like also. He does. Like if I've seen it in person, like I've been with people of color and like seen interactions with cops, and like a cop in the same thing. We're both doing the same thing. The cop treats me differently than my friend of
Treats you
color.
better, yeah.
And it's like,
They're
what is
less
going
worried.
on?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what is going on? Like just the interactions that you have and just certain things. And what people don't understand is white privilege is white people get the benefit of the doubt. And then people of
white
other
people-
colors a lot of times don't get the benefit of the doubt.
White people are innocent until proven guilty, and it seems like people of color are more. They're guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, and it's like
in,
it's
in
a
mentality. Though.
It's a subconscious thing that we don't even realize, and that's why I think people get so worked up about it. Is because like consciously you're not making that decision, and that's why. Have you guys ever read Malcolm Gladwell's Blink? It kind of gets into that a little bit. It talks about how we make these like super rash decisions, and then it kind of gets into culturally like why racism is there and why people have these things. And like they've done tests to where they do like, you know, they have a bunch of people sit down and they like associate different things and try to make them make quick reactions. And like even people of color will have negative reactions to people of color.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a very weird subconscious thing in our society that I think people get very upset because they don't want to admit that they have prejudice in them, that it's so ostracized now. And that's a big problem too with this cancel culture is like there's a big difference between racism and prejudice.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of what these people are calling racist is just ignorance and prejudice. It's not them outwardly going out and trying to ruin people of color's lives.
We're not
Like,
all Nazis.
Well, like think
Yeah.
about like I heard a comedian had a joke, and it's like one of the scariest like things that you can be called as a white person is racist.
Mm-hmm.
So like white people will go out of their way to do things to
Yeah.
try and not be labeled as racist.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just
they almost become racist in doing that.
Right.
You're going
Yeah.
so far out of the
Right.
way
You're
that
like,
you're
"What
like
is up, my
treating
brother?"
people different.
Like,
yeah.
right. Yeah. Exactly. It's like I don't know.
Instead of just being yourself, you got to try to be
Yeah.
who they want you to. Who they think you
And
should
I
be.
also don't agree with that. Only white people are racist.
No.
Because like that's
They're
another
not, no.
that's a huge thing too. I don't know about you guys, but growing up, like, you know, I wasn't allowed to have not allowed to. I'm saying like I couldn't be friends with certain people because they wouldn't allow me to be friends with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, there's just like certain people are like allowed to be racist. Like the funniest thing to me is like, we're talking about shows and stuff. I end up watching like these like kind of girly shows. I don't really care because I like it because it's kind of dumb. But
Gay?
the Indian matchmaking. That show is littered with racism. Like literally in the show, they're like, you can't marry that guy. His skin is too dark. Like in like the one family won't talk to their daughter because she married a white guy, and it's like this horribly racist show the whole time. Everybody's like, I love it. I'm learning about this culture and all this stuff. I'm like,
blanket racism.
like if you did if there was a show about white people dating and the dad's like, you're dating a black guy, I'm not
I'm not
coming to the wedding. It's like that show would be taken off right away.
Right. It's only when it's in reverse where you can make a TV show out of it.
But we gotta let other people have fun. The thing about being white is we've done a lot of fucked up stuff.
Culturally, yeah.
Yeah, and like it may not have been our fault. It may have been our ancestors, but whatever.
It is what it is. I mean,
yeah, 100% how it is. Yeah, because I mean, in like the next couple hundred years, I bet the average skin tone is going to like what was a stat I heard the other day? It was like 1 in 6 people in America has a Hispanic heritage of some type.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
Like you ever like the memes that I get all the time because I married a Mexican woman is like I get memes and it's like at every Mexican dinner and it's just
There's
like
the one
it's
white
just
dude.
all these brown people and then the one white guy and he's just like it's like a dude that looks like me or you and it's just like hey man I'm tacos
what's up? I'm here.
yeah hey ¿qué pasa? Like
dude, that is funny. I mean, but you're right about it. I mean, when I dated a black girl in college, and I felt like I got more shit than she got.
I'm sure.
Like I almost got in a fight with the dude. He like came up. He had a big this black guy had a big problem with me dating a black girl, and like I almost had to fight the guy because he was so mad about it. And then her father
who
didn't
the
want to
fuck
meet me.
cares?
It was like all this crazy stuff, and it's like my parents are like, we just want to be happy for you. Like we're just happy you found something.
But a black dude can more easily date a white girl than a white dude can easily date a black girl.
well, but you say
there's
that,
two
but
sides
like
of that.
But
though.
like what you're saying is like her dad, if
Yeah.
a white chick's dad is gonna have. I mean, to act like he's not gonna. In most cases, because of like racism,
I mean, socially,
essentially-
not parents.
right?
It's more socially acceptable. I feel like.
As somebody who married a Hispanic woman, like there was definitely like culture barriers I had to get past, and you just have to be okay with it. Like some of Daniela's family was just like.
A white boy?
Like pretty much, they were literally like, "Why are you like?" Like there's this thing where like there's a knee jerk reaction, like you're dating outside of the culture kind of thing, and but that's not just Hispanic people. That's
everything.
Like the
everything.
Indian cultures too.
I had a guy I kickbox with. He was Korean and he was marrying a Vietnamese girl, and his parents were pissed.
I bet. Yeah.
They were fucking pissed, and it's like, I mean, the ignorant white guy would be like, "You're all Asian."
Yeah, exactly. There's a difference.
Yeah, 100%. But see, this specific topic is one of the things I love about podcasts in general. Is like, it's okay to have conversations like this and not worry about cancel culture because, like, for us, obviously, we're 3 heterosexual white men. We're like the most supposed to not be qualified to talk about these things, and I think that cancel culture, making it taboo for us to talk about these things, makes it more ignorant for people. I believe that the more something is okay with being a talked about thing, the less hatred you're going to see about it. Like I'm trying to think of a good comparison. It's like swear words.
Yeah.
The more you say fuck, the less power you give it.
Yeah.
The more it's talked about, the less the more racism can be talked about, the less power it has, and the less like people I believe are going to be doing about it. The
The
more like
wow factor goes down tremendously.
Right, like
you said that.
you ever meet somebody who like, oh, I hate the F word,
Yeah.
and they're like, I'm like, it's like a comma for me sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
forget I say it.
right, like I literally could say it to like my boss and not even realize I said it.
Yeah.
And or I have to like cut it myself halfway through there and be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But like I give it so little power. So if someone goes, "You're a fucking idiot" to me, I'd be like, "Why are you yelling? Not why would you say you fucking idiot?" I'd be
stop
like,
yelling.
Stop. Like first of all,
That's
bring
all
your
I care
tone
about
down.
is the tone of the fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you inflect your voice
it's such
across
a useful
the word?
word.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like seasoning.
great.
Like the people who don't swear, I'm like, oh, you have no seasoning on your words, dude.
Yeah. Well, that was like the word, and it's kind of crazy, and some people cringe, but cunt. But like that
love
used
that
to
word.
that used to bother me, and then I lived with a dude that grew up in Argentina, and he said it like every other word, and then you like start hanging out with Australian people, and they're
it's
saying it every other
Oh, you
word.
fucking cunt.
I used to play games on back in the day with a bunch of Australians because I would get off work at like 2 a.m. and that's their like 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So we linked up like that, and that's literally every other word. Are you fucking cunt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, dude, I love
the
it.
best.
You take the sharpness away of those words when you use it. Just like what I'm saying, like if you talk about how like culturally people are different and you accept them for their differences, and if you have conversations, like I feel like if you don't have conversations about these things, like a big one is like gay, being gay or like trans or something like that. Like I'm totally okay. I grew up with my neighbors next door were lesbians, and like it's so normalized to me, and like I don't know, like some people, they never talk about it, and then like next thing you know, the Buzz Lightyear movie comes out where there's a lesbian couple, and like I know somebody that I've shook hands with this person, met this person that like won't let their children watch that movie because there's lesbians in it, and I'm like, why are you so offended by this?
Yeah.
Like,
how does it affect you?
right? I just
Disney's trying to make my kid gay.
yeah, literally, it's like
They're
this
turning the
mentality. It's
frogs.
I don't know about you guys, but like to me, I'm very libertarian with the idea of like drugs. Like if you make all drugs legal, I'm not gonna all of a sudden start doing drugs.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna be like, cool. Now it's more accessible. It's gonna be better for people potentially. I mean, I understand both sides of the coin, but like I think that more people should be accepting of others because like. If gay marriage is allowed, I'm not all of a sudden gonna be gay and getting married. Like I want people to have autonomy and freedom as long as it doesn't infringe upon me. And how does it hurt me if you like dudes and want to marry a dude? It doesn't hurt me at all.
Yeah.
People
I
fear
want
what
you
they don't.
happy.
People fear what they don't
As long
know.
as they're not trying to touch my dick, I'm happy.
Right.
Like,
Ignorance is where most problems come from. And ignorance happens when you're stuck in your own bubble. So like podcasts are a good way for people to get understanding of other things. And they're no longer ignorant towards those ideas in most cases, depending on if you're listening to Alex Jones or not. But
Yeah.
you get exposed to new ideas and you get normalized to things like like that kind of things. The more experience you have with them, the more intelligence you'll have around that subject.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what people don't understand about Joe Rogan is from the outside and like the media. If you actually don't listen to it, everybody's like, he's just talking to fucking comedians and politicians and making. And it's like, bro, like he brings on like
so much
neuroscientists
depth to
and
it.
like
And
these
transgender
weird
people.
that's the thing. Is like you actually listen to him. Like there's literally like nobody that can't go on the show. If you're interesting, you can go on.
He doesn't want bullshitters. And even some of those end up on the show, but like he doesn't want people that are like like the Donald Trumps of the world. People that are like they've gotten to their power.
I wish Trump would have went on a podcast. That would have been fucking great.
Man, speaking of transgender, you guys need to listen to Sean Ryan's episode with Chris Beck. Mm-hmm. He was a Navy SEAL.
I listened to the Chris Beck one because it became Kristen Beck.
Yeah, but
Okay.
Sean Ryan, not Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay.
So Sean Ryan was an ex-CIA dude, and then Chris Beck was a Navy SEAL that transitioned and is
Navy SEAL commander.
Yeah,
right?
he was like some of the stuff he did
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
military is crazy.
Yeah.
But now he's back to being Chris.
Oh, so he came back?
And he talks about all the mental stuff that happened and why it was a huge mistake. Mm-hmm. And
Thank God
it set so many fires. Like, but
There's a lot of retraction with that. I don't think like I'm versed enough to have a deep conversation about this, but one thing I have noticed is I think there is starting to be a correction back in the other way a little bit. I think it's just like everything that I think that's part of American culture is we overreact to everything and you go
pendulum
from
swings.
Yeah, and like it can never be just like a nuanced conversation of like, okay, like we should maybe figure out some real tests that can really like decide like if this person is really feeling this way, and then like let's get into the dysphoria and see like how does it affect their life in
That's
these certain
the
ways, like
biggest
what other
thing,
mental
yeah.
things do they have, like what other things that are going wrong, and
like
And for a while, it makes it. They tried to make it taboo where you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
If you're not one of them, you don't have the right to speak. And it's like, well, why can't I just be a nuanced person that can talk about these things?
that's everything though, man. Like I don't know, the transgender thing's kind of weird, and I'll be honest, I don't feel super comfortable having that conversation at this time, just because I feel like I only like talking about things that I have like a good grasp
telling
on.
you, listen to that podcast. He goes into his childhood, and how his relationship with his sister is what drove him to wanting to dress like a female, because that's the only time he got like recognition from his family. His family life was fucked up.
Yeah.
All the gender dysphoria stuff. Like he goes into all that, and it makes perfect sense.
Like what you were saying though, like I don't understand it, so therefore I don't feel like I'm qualified to speak about it. Well, the only thing I feel qualified to say about it is that it shouldn't become taboo where like people aren't allowed to talk about it, because anything like that is where you're going to create like an echo chamber.
I never talk about that stuff because I'm not versed in it. But after listening to that podcast,
but I also don't
crazy.
hate those people.
No, not at all.
I
have no problem with them at all.
No.
Yeah, is exactly it. And I feel like that needs to be
They're
discussed.
just misunderstood, and it's a lot of mental things rather than.
This goes back to like whatever people need to be happy.
Yeah.
Like as long as you don't infringe upon my rights.
But the media now is making it like, oh, just you have a problem. Oh, go get this surgery. This will make you better.
Yeah.
But it's not that kind of a thing.
Well, that just kind of like we can kind of take the conversation like away from that and really just look at that from a macro standpoint of a problem with America is we put a Band-Aid on things, and we don't actually address the fucking 10-inch fucking wound
But
that
it's
is
a
like
permanent thing.
pussing and bleeding blood, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. You have that, you have health, everything. It's like everything, like even, COVID and all that stuff. It's like, we're gonna get this vaccine. It's gonna fix everything. It's like, oh, we're gonna let them, we're gonna do gender changes. It's gonna fix everything. And it's
there's
like,
a market for it now. There's businesses that are solely created. Like there's surgery centers solely created for transition surgeries. It's a market now.
Yeah, it's a
business.
market, and it's weird, and I don't know. And like I said, it's like something. And the problem that we have too is like there's too many people right now on the forefront speaking about that don't really understand it on both sides.
Yeah.
There's people that are against it that don't really understand it. There's people that are for it that are kind of living in this weird echo chamber that have no idea the real repercussions or aspects. And I think you can just look at that. Just right now, transgender is like the hot thing.
Yeah.
Like that's what people are talking about.
Well, and
like
then
it's like the
social media-
weird, edgy kind of thing.
And social media and algorithms exacerbate all of it.
All of it. Yep.
Because like it's social media, it highlights the fringe of society. The majority, so I always go back to like especially on election times, as I say that, you start to see the real fringes of both political parties, but 99% of the voters are not on either fringe. They're like the
Even when they think they're on the fringe, they're not actually on the fringe.
right. Most people are the silent majority is very center, and I feel like that really comes out on like Joe Rogan's podcast. I mean, I don't know about you, but like how Joe Rogan talks all the time where he says that, I'm left on some issues and right on some. I'm like, that is how most people are.
Yeah.
Most nuanced people don't just pick a side and let everyone think for them. And, it really comes out during election times too, because when you see half the people vote one way and half the people vote another way, because it's probably they're conflicted.
Yeah.
And that's probably why Joe Rogan's so popular is he didn't just pick a side and just parrot what those people said. He just goes, what's the subject? Okay, this is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Not like blue no matter who or red or dead or whatever. It's just
There's
like
a lot of facts too.
when people want to ask me like my political party, I'm like, well, what's the subject?
Yeah.
And like I'll tell you how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about politics, and a lot of people will disagree with this because they won't accept it. It's like I'm willing to be changed. If someone's got a great argument for something, like I'm like, let me just hear it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not heels dug in on anything. I don't know.
I'm starting to feel a lot more. I guess it would be considered socialist, but I think I just read a book or listened to an audiobook, and I'm trying to listen to it a couple times so I like really get it. But have you heard of Tribe by Sebastian Younger?
I've heard of it.
We've heard of it on
Yeah.
Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
probably.
Dude, it's really good, and it kind of talks about why people almost don't get PTSD from the violence. Like, yes, it's a very big part of it, but a lot of it is they come back and they don't have community, they don't have a place, they don't have purpose,
brotherhood and all that
then
kind
when
of stuff,
all that stuff gets ripped away from them, then all they have left is like the negative images and the horribleness of it, and then that kind of comes to fruition.
Yeah.
But it talks about how in times of crisis people enjoy it because classes go away, money doesn't matter, you become much more interdependent on each other. And I guess I'm not really like socialist in the fact that like I think we should be more libertarian. I know like Russell Brand kind of talks like democracy really should be way more splintered than it is. We shouldn't have one person sitting in a city 2,000 miles away making our decisions. Like we should be having a group committee of elected officials in Tampa, and they make all the decisions for us, taxes, everything. There's no decisions that are coming from above. And I mean, I believe in that, but at the same time, like capitalism is getting really out of control. And like, I don't understand why we can't be in a world where we have a little bit of both, where capitalism is capped to where like, for instance, CEOs make 300 to 1 of their average employees. Like for every dollar their average employee makes, they make $300 for that one. Why can't we cap that number at like 100?
Yeah.
And like, or why can't like at a certain point, Jeff Bezos only can make a certain percentage more if he raises his employee's salary by that percentage. Like if a CEO wants to go from making 20 million to making 25 million, that's a 25% increase. You got to make your $10 employee now has to make $12.50 an hour. You know what I mean?
Most businesses,
like your
they're like-
$20 employee's got to make $25 an hour. I feel like why can't we have some kind of structure like that to where like You can still have your own business. You can still have your own life. You can still have freedom. The government is not going to dictate where you go to work in the morning. But dude, like, we don't need some hyper aggressive billionaire that's having bridges taken down so his massive boat can go in.
Yeah.
Like,
I like what you're saying, because a lot of what I think about too is like when businesses hire people for a position, they go, well, the market average for this job. And it's like, yeah, but this business isn't the market average. The market average of, Amazon, like you're comparing yourself to other forklift drivers at much smaller companies. It's like, you guys make like almost, what is it, trillions of dollars, billions, at least billions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they make a shit ton of money, and they're a large producer of the economy. I had a business professor at HCC, community college, that still I still need to reach out to him one day and see if he'll come do the podcast. But he one of the things he said is, what is the job of the federal government? Because it's not clearly defined, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's half the problem.
what is the federal government?
Right. Well, so many people focus on who their president is that they don't clearly define what the president should even be doing. And one of the things he said there should be really just two basic jobs of the federal government. They should be to operate the military and to make sure that monopolies can't exist.
Yeah.
And they do a shit job of pretty much both of those. I mean,
No, they do a good job with the military.
They do, but there's
so much we don't know.
The military is kind of like one of those things, like the way we are with the military, and I feel like it's like having, and I can say this because I used to kind of be that dude. Like I was such a douchebag in college, and I love my friends. Not that I was like horrible or bullying my friends all the time, but I wasn't a good friend. I was kind of an asshole. Like I just wasn't the best bro all the time, but my friends knew that if shit hit the fan, I was gonna fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
And I constantly defended them on that. So they would put up with my bullshit because they knew I had their back. And I feel like that's our military sometimes. Yeah, we do some fucked up stuff, and our military is kind of fucked in the industrial military complex, but also in the United States, we're kind of on an island. We don't really have to, even if World War III does break out,
we're one of the superpowers.
we're probably going to be chilling still. We're going to just be watching it on TV. There will be a couple places that might get bombed or something, but
That's the sad part.
And even if they did invade here, there's 300 million sleeper soldiers just waiting.
dude, that's the thing that people talk about. The thing that the Russians underestimated was how strong the force was from just the everyday civilians in Ukraine. Dude, there's some dudes sitting in the woods right now just ready.
Arsenals.
Somebody's like, China's at the front door. All right, been waiting.
Yeah.
Let's throw on the freaking lead and go at it.
With the discussion we've had, it's all of a sudden some Chinese people are trying to sneak up on a house, and all of a sudden you hear Fortunate Son start playing in the background. it's just some dude who's just been waiting his whole life. You hear ching, and just all of a sudden,
He's got his Toyota Hilux with a Dishka in the back of it.
Yeah. Can you somebody said it the other day? He's like, could you imagine if Russians paratrooped in and they landed in the Everglades?
Oh my
what
God.
the fuck are they gonna do?
just some dude he's in the middle of his crawfish boil, and he just pulls out a black powder pistol and starts gatting fools.
Uncovers the AA gun sitting in his bush. Just
Some dude with a fucking pump
I was
shotgun.
right. That's why we needed rifle open carry.
That's right,
Bro. Some dude doesn't have $1 in the stock market, but has so much money and ammunition
Oh my
and guns
gosh.
and fuel and stuff like that. And he's got a closet full of tannerite. And
Yeah.
he just surrounds his property, and he's there's tripwires because he's just fucking paranoid. And on YouTube, he's got homemade pipe bombs and shit.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
That's America, son.
And
What
then-
else do you need for a
and then
trailer for this
all
country?
all the gang members and rednecks and everybody would just band together, and we're gonna kill them now.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what
We'll all forget our differences when something like that happens.
that tribe book talks about. That is when real issues come to fruition, a lot of this stuff that divides us right now, if China drops a fucking bomb on frickin' whatever, New York or something like that, everybody's gonna really stop caring about transgenderism real quick, and nobody's gonna give a fuck. It's I don't care if you got a dick or a vagina. Here's an
Get a gun,
AR-15 and
start
let's
shooting.
fucking go.
Yeah.
It's just. And that's the thing, and that's the problem, is I think why there's so much divide is we don't have real conflict. And I think you guys are a little bit younger than me, right? How old are you right now?
25.
25, yeah.
26,
So I got 6-7 years on you guys. I was conscious enough at the time, and I was only 11, but when 9/11 happened, dude, man,
Everybody.
it was like the best time to be an American. That like year after, like George Bush came out and threw that first pitch at Yankee Stadium, and like everybody was like hyped up and like
Bald
fucking
Eagle
red, white, and
screeches.
blue. And
Everybody
like,
was American.
we're going crazy, and we're like,
it's red, clear.
yeah.
Motherfucking America.
Dude, I remember when Osama bin Laden got shot, or they like captured him, or they
killed
Them
him.
boys went out there and got him.
Yeah, I remember that, like 93.3, which for us was like our pop radio station. I remember they played fucking the national anthem, and I'm crying in my car.
America. Fuck yeah.
It's like, dude, did you guys listen to the Joe Rogan episode the other day with Luke Combs? And
Yeah.
they were talking about when Chris Stapleton sung the national anthem, and when they played it on Joe Rogan, I'm like listening to it.
You're like,
I wasn't even watching. I'm
motherfucker.
listening to it. I'm like, God, this is the greatest country in the world.
Dude, yeah, that's what I think people forget about that. We
They
just need some.
underestimate it.
We just need some shit for people to realize,
Yeah.
like, oh, okay,
This is why we're here.
Dude, we are so blessed in this country to be in the position that we're in. Like when you hear about like that Yeonmi Park episode.
Yeomi Park.
Yeah, when you hear that part, like that
The
episode
heavies.
where she talks
Oh
about
my
the heavies,
gosh.
bro. Oh, stop it.
It's okay. She's in on the joke now, so we can make
you
the
heard
joke.
that,
So
bro,
yeah,
that was so funny. So when you hear like all the shit that's happening in the country right now,
Yeah.
or like other countries,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like you have to like. Does this bullshit really even matter?
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about right now with like our racism and stuff like that? And it's like these countries can barely eat.
There's
Like,
kids in Africa in the lithium mines, you
Bro,
know,
it's
getting murked every day by AKs.
And what kills me about going back to the government and some good things they do and some shit things they do, it's like we only all of a sudden need to liberate a country. Like there's so many countries that we could go in and like help them out and like save their society and stuff like that.
If we get
but if we
something
don't
in
have any
return.
resources
Yeah.
that we need in that country, fuck them people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's essentially the government's motto. It's like you know half the reason we didn't go to Afghanistan because they had weapons of mass destruction. No, we went to Afghanistan because they're the number one producer of heroin.
yeah.
They have the
we
most
had to go
poppy
control
fields.
the
Yeah.
poppy seed. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's like in the oil resources.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're not going to North Korea. North Korea is way more fucked up than those places even are.
Yeah.
And especially because they might have nuclear warheads. Why haven't we gone and invaded them?
we
It's
could
because
bomb
have,
them right now and wipe them off the face of the earth.
Well, China's in their back
if we
pocket.
needed
That's
to.
the problem
But
with
I'm
them
just saying,
too.
like, it wouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah.
And we have a vested interest in China.
Yeah.
So it's messy, man.
It is messy.
I'm so glad I'm not
that's-
the one making
that's,
those decisions.
That's the thing too, though. It's like, how can you really make the decisions and do the things that a government has to do without doing fucked up stuff?
Yeah.
A good, like even 50% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, if our government is 51% good and 49% bad, we're in a good spot.
Yeah,
right.
Like, and I feel like that's how it is. Our gut, like, and it kind of varies and stuff. But I feel like for the most part, at least for us domestically, it benefits us a lot.
You have to do a little bad to do some good.
I feel like one of the biggest
America.
things that needs to be.
That's
and,
right.
And Joe Rogan's been talking about a lot recently too. Is if you can take the money out of politics. I feel like the people who really run the country right now are
Yeah.
the CEOs.
Yeah.
The CEOs. I mean,
The old
you
white
think,
money.
you're like everyone's so worried about is Joe Biden going to run again in 2024 and is Trump going to run again? And I'm like, who the fuck
cares?
These
Yeah.
guys have little to no power. I mean, they really only just control the nuclear like button. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you see how little power the president has when you have Biden in there and he like literally can't even
doesn't know
form a
where he's
sentence.
at.
You know he's not pulling the strings.
They're gonna be like, okay, Mr. President, press this button right here.
We
Yeah.
all know the CEO of Lockheed Martin probably has got a lot more power
And
than the CEO
Blackwater.
does. Yeah,
And Blackwater.
or like Raytheon and Boeing and like those massive companies. Those are the ones who really control the direction of this country.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, honestly, like we've had such a, it's a common thing in America, like separation of church and state. There needs to be a separation of business and state.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think
People that make those laws aren't going to do that though, because that takes money out of their pocket.
that's the whole thing. And I think that's why people love Trump is the whole thing. Like, yeah, I
already
take
rich.
advantage of the tax code and you made the tax code and you're not going to change the tax code because
You do the same thing.
You do the same thing.
You'd be dumb not to.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. And that's the thing. It's like we're talking on a podcast and we're trying to figure it out, and we're just three people in our own experience.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that drives me nuts about people. And I'm like, oh, really? You have a sociology degree? Like, so now you think you can run the
Philosophy
government?
major.
Like, okay, bro. Like, I get it. Like, and I think like I have some good ideas that would go out in the government, but do you have any idea how to make those changes or how they happen or really like the logistics or if the situation really lends it? I don't know. Like, a thing that drives me nuts is people are like, Denmark does it. And it's like, Denmark has 16 million people.
Yeah.
Like, there's less people in Denmark than there are in the suburbs of Tampa. Like, what do you...
Isn't Denmark the size of like Florida?
Yeah, like it's like...
Yeah.
And to get honestly, dude, if you want to get into like some real shit, I really think the United States needs to be fractioned out into like 5 or 6 different countries.
Yeah.
Because it really, like, politics, culture, and everything is really starting to get fragmented in different things. Like, I'll be honest with you.
The federal government shouldn't do much. It should all be localized government. And most people have, if you had to ask people to name one person
In their
on their
local
county
government.
on their county board of commissioners, you ask them to name one person, or at least like if you ask them to say the skin color of one person on their board, like they're going to be guessing.
Who's your mayor of the town? Do you know the mayor of the town?
Right. Literally, literally, and most people. But those are the ones.
I'm actually
that
a Jane
more.
Castor fan. I'm a registered Republican, and I know Jane Castor's Democrat, but I like her a lot for Tampa.
I'll be honest, I don't know shit about her.
She's the mayor of Tampa. She used to be like a police chief, so I feel like she kind of rides that line pretty well. Like, she's pretty democratic, like socially, but like she also gets like the other sides of things.
Can we take another pee break and then we'll finish this one off? After the next pee break?
Yeah. We can. We can keep talking going. But yeah, man, I don't know.
It's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, we're never gonna figure it out doing this, but
I mean,
think
it's good to stimulate these thoughts and to have this kind of open format conversation because you can't really do this very often.
It is,
especially with people you don't know too well. You can see different views and get different aspects, perspectives, and all that.
Yeah, definitely, it's good, and I like podcasting because it really forces you, like he was saying, to have a conversation and
for sure.
And yeah, dude, and I think talking about things, and he was going back to the taboo thing, like you can't talk about it, you can't progress. Like if nobody checked me on like my privilege and my shit, like, and I'm not trying to give fuel to the cancel culture people, but like I've been put in my place some. And you know what? I've put a lot of people in their place too when it comes to things, and you realize like, wow, that was really ignorant what I said, or like maybe I don't have it all figured out or have the perspective. And like the things that I love is somebody who completely disagrees with me and also has data to back it up. And it's like, oh shit.
And you can comfortably talk about it and then come to an agreement to disagree.
Yeah. And most people that are like that actually have the facts and actually understand it and aren't just parroting something from CNN, actually like have that nuance and have that understanding to where we have completely different mentalities on how this world should be run. But at the same time, like, that doesn't make you wrong. That doesn't mean we can't be friends. So, and I think that's really what it comes down to is people need to give people the benefit of doubt more. People need to understand that everybody's human and everybody's done wrong in their life and everybody's got fucked up shit in their closet. The thing that drives me nuts about a lot of this racial stuff and all this thing is like, dude, I have friends that are like parroting fucking things on the internet about how, black people have it so bad. And I'm like, bro, you used to say the N-word all the time in high school. Like, where are you coming from, bro? Like, and if you opened up their closet, it'd be 10 times worse than the people they're trying to cancel. And it's like, you just feel guilty for how you used to be. Yeah. And now you're trying to like fix that instead of being like, I'm wrong. I forgive myself. I was ignorant. I did not know then. If I knew what I knew now, I would not have acted like that. And let's move on.
Yeah. At the end of the day, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. We're all trying to figure it out.
And this is why jiu-jitsu is so important.
It is.
Because so many people...
He really wanted to talk about jiu-jitsu.
He always does.
I get it, dude.
theme.
I'm just getting on the other side of my jiu-jitsu addiction where I was like, I woke up and I was like, okay, there's other things in life. You're in it. Enjoy it.
I can't even imagine that.
Enjoy it right now. Like, watch all your videos, get ready, like drill as much as possible, get on the mat as much as you can.
Dude,
enjoy the obsession.
Shit. Oh, I see some shit sometimes and I'm like, I'm going to try that. I don't think it's going to work. Most of the time it doesn't work, but some occasion you get the one that does.
The worst part watching UFC fights, and I just hear Ryan, if he does this, then I would do this, and I would do this.
The level of jiu-jitsu in the UFC sucks ass. So there's most people are that are like black belts in jiu-jitsu and then like barely use jiu-jitsu. I'm like, bro, who gave you your black belt?
Well, you want me to go in on this?
Go for it.
Well, can I let me make my point real quick about what we were just talking about. I said jiu-jitsu, but in general, I think that everybody needs something that puts their ego in check. Whether it be
people don't have
jiu-jitsu,
get humbled.
whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's fucking hunting, something where it's like there's no fake it till you make it. It's like you have to get in there and be a beginner and learn and get better at it, because the people that don't have that thing that checks their ego are always the ones who are like, oh my god, dude, I could never understand, like what you were just saying. Like they get crazy about stuff, and it's like, you were this, like, how are you going to sit there on your I'm better than everybody pedestal?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like people don't get their ego checked, and I feel like it's a hard thing to seek out. Because it really is, especially as a guy, it's a hard thing. Everybody knows the guy who's like, bro, when I'm mad, I just see red and bodies start dropping. And like to put that part
like
of your brain,
raising your hand. I've never been in a fight before.
Yeah.
Right. And to have that person in that part of your brain go and get humbled by a 120-pound chick, that like, how many times have you ever left jiu-jitsu where you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? Not because you didn't like it, but because like there's some times
it was more that with kickboxing. I think I like got through the other side of kickboxing, so I saw that. So like I actually like the days where I get really fucked up at jiu-jitsu, but I had those days in kickboxing where I'm like driving home and I'm like, I got a headache, my nose is like fucking still gushing blood, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Right. And I always say that there's days you leave jiu-jitsu where you're the hammer, and there's days you leave jiu-jitsu where you just got fucking nailed.
The best days are when you're the nail.
Right. And you have to, but those are the ones where you like, in the moment it feels so shitty, but there's so much to learn from that. When I leave jiu-jitsu, there's been times where I'm like it's like a 30-minute drive for me for jiu-jitsu, and I'm just driving home depressed, and I'm like, why did I tap? I shouldn't have tapped to that. I could breathe just fine. It was just uncomfortable. It wasn't a good submission.
Yeah.
And like, there's been times though when I leave jiu-jitsu and I'm like, man, I finally got that submission on that person that I've been chasing, or like I feel so good about myself. But it is a stark difference between the two on how you leave and feel in jiu-jitsu. And too many people are nervous about the bad days of things like that, and they won't try it because they don't want to experience the bad. And I think that so much of life, if you just chase things that make you feel good, those are the fast foods. Those are the things that don't bear any fruit in the long term. And I feel like most people don't chase those kind of things. And I think people need something that challenges their ego, whether it be fucking softball, or whether it be basketball, or whether it be chess. Just something where people learn that there's always somebody better than you at that thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't want someone to be better at you, you have to put in so much effort and so much expenditure of your brain to that thing, and so much of your time. And too many people don't have those things.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Whether it be jiu-jitsu, whether it be kickboxing, whether it be anything.
Yeah, you definitely need that. I always joked around, I don't know if you guys played baseball or football or not, but I always joked that like baseball players are such douchebags because they don't get hit. And like football players can be pretty big douchebags. But at least when I was growing up, like I felt like there was such a difference in personalities between a baseball player and a football player, because like, dude, I was good at football. I was always good at football. I always played. I always like on the field at least somewhat. Like I was like a part of the team. And dude, like didn't matter, man. Like I still got my shit rocked all the time. And I had those days of like jiu-jitsu, and I feel like when I played baseball, I never had those days. Like, yeah, I maybe got hit by a pitch once in a while, or I didn't get to play the position I wanted to play, but it was never like something where I had to like really gut check myself and be like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But
there's a whole different level in there.
But dude, jiu-jitsu sucks in MMA, because I'm going to tell you right now, jiu-jitsu is not the best. It's becoming Taekwondo.
In what aspect?
There's a certain aspect of the rule set of jiu-jitsu where you can't punch somebody in the face, and like especially sport jiu-jitsu, and a lot of these guys that are high-level black belts that are maybe doing things, they're playing certain open guards, or that
would never work where
that would
striking's
never
allowed.
work because you get punched in the face. And that's the one thing I'm trying to change about my game a little bit, is I started to develop that very like under the guy, like on the ground, on the bottom, on what would look like the submissive position. But I couldn't play that if the guy could punch me in the face.
Right. Yeah.
If it was combat
It's
jiu-jitsu,
a big difference.
Yeah.
the submissions, and I'm not disagreeing with you, the submissions that you go for in jiu-jitsu where you're not allowed to punch are completely different than the submissions you go for if hitting's allowed.
Yeah.
Because you have to, like, I'm trying to think of a good, what's a good one? Like a Kimura from guard. When you're on your back, you would never go, if that person's allowed to punch you, they're going to be fucking hammer fisting you in the face.
Yeah.
you would never go for that. A triangle choke is more likely the thing you'd go for at that time. Guillotines, you could probably go for it's a lot more choke based.
Yeah.
When you go into actual submissions, like actual fight styles. But what I was saying though is like the level of jiu-jitsu that's in UFC, like the people that skyrocket in the UFC are typically people who are like Khamzat Chimaev or Bo Nickel or what's the
Wrestling.
What's the one guy? Yeah, wrestling base that then learn to use submissions in it as well. But like Charles Oliveira, amazing jiu-jitsu, and he's working his way to the top. But I'm just saying, there's some people where like you'll see him come on UFC, and they're like, oh, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, and it's like he just got fucking handled.
Well, Islam Makhachev said that, and like a lot of people need their black belt taken away.
Yeah.
But if you've been in a gym, there's a big difference between a MMA black belt and an actual jiu-jitsu black belt, and that's one thing that I'm really trying to like do is I want to go back to training some striking some. Like there's a side of me that's like, bro, I could do an MMA fight, and I think even at the level I have of groundwork now and wrestling and stuff, I think I could do pretty well, especially at the amateur level with some dude that's only got 1 or 2 fights. But I want to really get that core, and that's part of the reason why I like the gi is I feel like I got to get my purple belt in gi and like really just like
You're blue belt right now?
yeah. Okay. I really like appreciate the basics and like really try to like understand it from a deep level. And then once I have the purple belt and I feel like I have a good basis, then start applying those things to MMA. Really, when it comes down to it, if you want to learn how to actually fight, you have to go train MMA. Like, and it is good if you have like,
because there's no room for bullshit. No.
Yeah. If you're 28 years old and you're walking into a gym and you're like, what should I do? Just go to an MMA gym and do both striking and jiu-jitsu classes. You'll have fun. You'll learn everything. If you're young, learn the ones. Like if a freaking 14-year-old came to me and was like, how do I become a UFC fighter? I'm like, okay, well, first thing you need to do is you need to go join the wrestling team, and you're going to do that for the next 4 years. Yeah. And then once you're done with that, then we're going to teach you jiu-jitsu for a couple years. And then you just have
more time to do MMA in stages of their life
instead
of doing it all at one time.
Yeah. Dude, wrestling is the best base. That's I try not to live with regrets, but if I could go back in time, I wish somebody would have sat me down and been like,
you need to wrestle, not
dude.
play football.
Fortunately, we didn't have that in my small ass town.
Yeah.
There was football. That was it.
Football, that was it.
And I
yeah.
didn't play
Probably
it
needing them cornbread Oklahoma towns, dude.
I hated the coach, so I didn't play it.
Yeah. That can ruin it, dude.
Yeah.
I was a great basketball player, but I did not like. Me and the basketball coach did not vibe at my high school, and like he didn't really like his basketball players playing football, so like I stopped playing basketball.
Yeah.
Like
it's so shitty, man.
Yeah.
It sucks.
But it is what it is. I think
because
jiu-jitsu,
how much that
martial
could have
arts
changed your path had you done something different, you know? Not too terribly much, but
yeah. My thing is I should have been a swimmer or a long distance runner, but I didn't want to do either of those things. Honestly, like for my frame, when I get into running and I start running, like trying to like get my times down, for my size, the actual speeds that I go and like the amount of miles I can do is actually pretty, in my opinion, pretty impressive. That if I stopped lifting weights and let my weight just fall off, I think I looked it up. To be like an ideal runner for my size, I'd have to be like 165 pounds or like 170. I think it was like 167, and I weigh like 200 pounds, like 205 right now.
So 40 pounds.
And I'm not holding like that much fat.
No, and for you to lose like basically 30 to 35 pounds, that's like you would be fucking rail thin.
I'd be a different person.
Yeah.
Right.
Like and I don't want to do that. But but honestly, from what my body is built to do, the fact that I didn't do like cross country or something like that was I think I could have did that collegiately. I don't know about any of the other sports, like maybe football. If I got a different little path, I started lifting earlier, maybe had another year. But I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm happy about how I've taken my path of life so far.
It is what it is, man. And
I just enjoy working out. That's my biggest thing.
yeah.
I miss it. I miss lifting weights like I once did when I was doing it like 5 days a week.
But I did learn quickly bodybuilding isn't what I wanted to do.
Dude, bodybuilding
As far
is
as like shows and stuff.
Oh,
just
dude.
not worth it.
You talk about a culture that's like kind of like really
So it's what they're supposed to be the picture of health. And
They're
like
not
and
at all.
no, they're
The
fucking
drugs and
awful.
body dysmorphia and eating, it's all.
Show me an old bodybuilder. There's like barely any old
Jay
bodybuilders.
Cutler,
Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, actually.
but he's even then he's
All those guys actually lived pretty long, good
Yeah.
lives, I think. A lot of the
But so many of them
Arnold
die
era.
young, or they end up like Ronnie.
Because a lot of the pros, they got so big naturally and then switched and added a little bit of stuff to make them even better. A lot of the kids nowadays are going hammered on.
They're like blasting
full
TRT
cycles.
at
Like it's, and then they die at 40.
you want to
heart's
talk
weird.
about like
Their heart
fucked up
grows.
like medical stuff and these clinics, all these like TRT things that are coming about, and dudes are like 30 years old and they're like, I got a little testosterone, I need to get on TRT. It's like, bro, no, you eat fucking McDonald's every day and you sleep 4 hours a night. Like you don't need TRT.
Yeah.
Like I'm not somebody that I think I will do TRT one day,
100%.
but I'm hoping I can put it off till like after my 50s. Like I want to try to be as natural as possible for as long as I can, and then.
But I'm not too good to try PEDs either.
Yeah.
I mean,
Later in my life, later in my
I've done some considered PEDs, like when I wasn't competing, like when I thought I was. I mean, I was pretty much. I guess I did them after I competed. I never have competed since I've done them, but I did some SARMs. In
that?
college, it's selective androgen receptive modulators. It's a peptide.
Yeah, it's a version.
So like
It's to help you
peptides.
recover.
Yeah.
It is, but I also put on like 25 pounds of muscle.
Yeah,
I took this stuff called Ligandrol, and
Yeah.
dude, I see why people get addicted because when you go in the gym and your bench goes up 10 pounds from last week, it's
good.
like you feel like a fucking superhero. And then like you do a crazy workout. You work out for like an hour and 30 minutes. You do like 100 sets of a bunch of different things, and you wake up and you're fucking ready to go the next day.
Not sore. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the road I was going to go down if I didn't stop what I was doing. So I was like, I gotta not
See,
do
that's
this.
smart,
That's
man.
very
You were like
expensive.
ahead of it. Yeah.
Like, I was going into some, Ryan knows, I was going into some dark places with some dark people that
Yeah.
could have been bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to cut ties with all that shit.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it was crazy because like that was right as I entered into Colton's life, and I am very like a virgin to all those things. Like I've never done any illegal substances. I've done legal substances at illegal ages,
Yeah.
but I never had done any of those things and never had any desire to do it. And it's like it makes you really realize like how much of your life is determined by who you hang around.
Like I
does.
was witness to, felony level drug deals and biker gangs, and could have been in
Yeah.
that scene, and it could have gone really bad.
yeah, man.
It's wild.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Legit shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to say too much on here.
No, I
yeah.
understand.
yeah, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Some crazy ass shit.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. But I mean, as far as like the drugs things, like I used to abuse the stuff. You ever heard of clenbuterol?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I used to abuse Clen pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like that's how I stayed shredded. Like
Yeah.
my last couple
Oh,
years of
it's
school,
amazing.
and like, but dude, have you done it before? Dude, you feel miserable.
Yeah.
But
You look fucking great.
you can eat a fucking bowl of ice cream at night
Yeah.
and then wake up and you're like, I lost 4 pounds.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's wild,
That's
bro.
like that saying, eat clean, train hard.
Pretty much, yeah,
eat
man.
clean, train
But
hard.
that's
Yeah.
that's the thing. Going back to social media, that's what people don't see. Is people are like, "Oh, that person must work." And don't get me wrong, they work hard.
Yeah.
But a lot of these bodybuilder guys that are like, "Cheat meal, I'm having 4 pizzas."
Yeah.
You can't have 4 pizzas if you're not on PEDs. Don't eat 4 pizzas because that's a 4-day recovery from that.
Yeah.
Like these guys are literally eating that and then they're fucking sleeping it off and taking fucking testosterone the next day, and they're fine.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too is people only see the one shot of things and they think they want certain. Dude, to be shredded year round,
It's so much work.
it's a hard lifestyle.
miserable.
You
Yeah.
really can't drink.
No.
You
You
can't.
have to live like Athlete X. You know who Athlete X is?
Yeah.
Bro, he quite literally works out every fucking day.
I think that guy's gonna die in a couple years.
You think so?
I don't know, man. You can't stay that lean.
Dude, he
Definitely takes Clen.
Have you?
He definitely takes Clen.
You think so? Have you
There's
ever watched
no
his
way
like?
he doesn't.
You ever seen his like
Super
dieting
lean.
videos?
I mean,
The dude is like fucking white bread of diet. So he literally does not eat out of his diet but once a year. He's fucking.
Does he
he's-
though? Do you follow him around all the time? And
That's
like-
fair. That's fair. I only see his.
The thing is see, you know it.
I know.
You know it because you're in that thing, and like
Yeah.
you also know too.
but he also
like-
doesn't look outlandish.
no, he doesn't.
Yeah, but
You don't have to look out.
but the
He doesn't
thing
look like
is,
Liver
is
King.
And
if you're
beyond, yeah.
staying under 8% body fat, your testosterone, even really 10, your testosterone is going to crash at some point. So to keep at the level of working out, to stay the things that he's doing something because he doesn't have enough fat content in his body to support the endocrine structure that you would need to stay working out and stay that lean and that built.
People
I'm
think,
not,
people
I'm not
think
saying
5%
he's.
is maintainable year round without substances.
It's not.
It's not.
Really under 10. It's like it's so hard
Like
to
10
stay
to
under
15
10.
is like the optimal.
I feel like if I can stay around 12,
Yeah.
that's like optimal. You're like, you have like a nice 4-pack. Like for me, like if I'm at like 11 or 12, I have like a nice 4-pack. My stomach's flat, but I'm not like shredded. I feel like that's like the goal. I think I'm a little bit more like 15 right now.
I'm probably around the 20 range right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit heavier. I quit going to the gym. I got a home gym. Starting to cycle into that, and
You got to like get used to that.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. As somebody who lost like 70 plus pounds,
That's right, man.
but did it the complete like going to the gym, eating healthy, like calorie deficit, did it all the hard ways. It pisses me off when you hear about people getting on
Semaglutide.
bro, that shit makes
Yeah.
me so mad. It doesn't make me mad that people are losing weight. It makes me mad that
The easy way
that
out.
is their get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
It's their get thin quick scheme, and it's
It's
just
like the same thing though. It won't last. If you get rich on a get rich quick scheme, it's not going to make you happy.
Right.
If you work your ass off, it takes you 10 years to get where you go.
dude. I lost the weight and I've kept the weight off.
That's the
like,
thing.
That's it, because I changed my lifestyle. If you want to change yourself, you have to change everything. I mean, like I can't eat like I used to. I mean, I'll do it on occasions where I'll just like fucking go balls to the wall. But like,
Yeah, bro.
the amount of times, like I'm intermittent fasting pretty much like every day. And then like there's some days I'll just be like, you know what, I don't need to eat lunch today. Like I'm hungry, but like I need to send the signal to my stomach that I'm in fucking charge.
Yeah.
And like the working out when you're not like fully recovered or like maybe have a little bit lack of sleep, like you obviously have to know some limitations in that, but like you get to you get like so in one with what your body can and can't do. And then I don't know, man, like when people tell me that there's a way to lose weight that it doesn't involve the hard way of doing it, I'm just not interested in listening. I'm just really not. When someone's like, oh, it's a lifestyle product, I'm like, fuck off. Like I can't. You want me to pay $40 for a bag of popcorn? I just don't. You can't. Fuck that. Or you want me to buy like a fat burner or something like that? I'm like, I'm like, dude, there's in my mind, there's one way to do it. There's one way to lose weight, and it's doing all the things that are uncomfortable that nobody wants to do, and hardly anybody does it. That is how I take a lot of things in my life, though.
There's so much satisfaction from doing it that way.
So much, like if you're going to be married to the same person for a long ass time and you're going to be only married to that one person your whole life, it is going to be fucking hard. But like the juice is worth the squeeze, in my opinion. If you want to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, you're going to have to go through injuries, and you're going to have to go through a lot of the mental game of realizing that there's going to be highs and lows. You just keep showing up, and that's how I feel about like a relationship. That's how I feel like those are the underlying traits in the things in life that are worth having, such as great wealth and great health and great happiness. Is it's hard. If they were easy, everyone would have them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But why are we doing it? No.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I need some food.
Let's not dive into that.
I gotta go to my open mat here soon.
Yeah.
And
I gotta go to
get
my
fucked up.
open mat soon, so
Dude,
we'll go to the same open mat very soon.
Dude, I'm totally down, man. I actually just got a new job in Tampa, so I might legitimately consider going to your gym and training there in the mornings, depending if I can make it work with the schedule.
Yeah, there's a shower there. It's not the nicest shower, but I've showered a couple times. There's a nice little spider hanging out. He leaves you alone, and
Dude,
the water's warm, so that's a big deal.
Bro, even
you
then,
Community soap. You're all
right?
good.
I brought my own soap.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my own. There's that crusty.
I don't know who else is using my bar of soap that's sitting in there, but I only use it when only use that.
It's a bar of soap. It's clean, right? It resets every night.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay dirty.
I wash my ass last, and then it resets tomorrow. All right, Rob. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
back
you
here. I
guys,
hope you
man.
enjoyed it.
No, this was fun.
You haven't done a podcast in how long now?
I haven't done one in a while. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Are you planning on restarting your podcast?
Not exactly the specific one. I am actually working on like, I'm kind of more trying to like, everybody says find your niche, and I'm like trying to do something that's a little bit more fits into my actual lifestyle and something that I think people need help with. And I feel like it's very hard to stay healthy doing a sales, especially like outside sales role where you're constantly commuting, you're constantly no day's the same. It's very hard to like sync your diet up and do that kind of those kind of things. And I think I've done a good job overall of staying pretty healthy while doing this. And it's been about 6 years that I've been in this field, so I'm starting to really figure out what works, what doesn't. So right now I'm working on a thing. The working title is like selling wellness, and it's all just about trying to stay healthy while working an outside sales job. So I would imagine that if something does come to fruition from the podcast perspective, it would be something like that, where I would be speaking more to outside salespeople, entrepreneurs, startup people that are living these erratic kind of corporate lives, and trying ways to fit health into that. And then ultimately, you become better at those jobs. I feel like I don't have to work as hard as my peers because my mind is clear and my body feels good.
Yeah.
My body feels good.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been working on. So,
Dude, I mean, I couldn't agree more, because half of the people that are really healthy live very disciplined lifestyles where they do the same things at the same times of the day. And in your line of work, it is, if you have your peak energy at 5:30, but you have a sales call and you have to go have dinner with those people, it's so easy to be like, you know what, let me get the cheeseburger actually, instead of ordering, something that's going to align with what you want to do with your life. I mean, I can totally understand that.
And there's some things that they don't talk about in health and wellness, like, so there are some people that they don't drink, and they're and there's still a niche for that. I'm not saying you can't be successful in sales or entrepreneurship if you're not drinking, but also a lot of good business happens at a bar at 9 o'clock at night. Like a lot of good conversations I have, a lot of clients that have opened up to me have been over a couple of beers, and you actually start to know someone, and it kind of gets you through those barriers. And also, you have to go to these conferences and meetings all the time, and alcohol is very present. So I think learning how to drink in a healthy way it's kind of hyperbole, but learning how to drink in a way that you can get up the next day and still be super productive, but not be the dude that's like sitting on the corner not talking to anybody at the party. Like, I think there's like a good balance to that, and a lot of these health and wellness people don't talk about that stuff.
It's fair. It's very fair.
So that's what I'm working on, but I don't know when that's going to come out. Right now, I have 3 goals for the year. I'm trying to save money for a down payment on whatever I decide to buy, whether it's a condo, multi-unit house, whatever. I don't know yet, but I'm saving money. I have a certain number that I want to save to. I'd like to win 3 golds in jiu-jitsu tournaments. I've got 1 already. I need to get 2 more for the year, and I need to hit a certain number that would put me in a really good place financially, and I would probably win some awards at my job. So that's all I'm focused on, those 3 things, which sounds like a lot, but for someone that has ADHD and went from focusing on like 10 different things, I feel like I got a good like grasp on things right now.
Nice.
But
well, awesome, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me. Love the I love it. Love the conversation, and keep it up and I know how hard it is to grind and get a podcast off the ground, and I know it seems difficult to get things going, but I know a lot of podcasts I listen to, they really don't get popular like 300 or 400 episodes. So you just got to keep grinding.
I know that there's a that Malcolm Gladwell, that thing of 10,000 hours.
Yeah. That book Outlier, that's another great book. Dude, Malcolm Gladwell is fucking great.
Super wise.
And they're good audiobooks. Listen to Outliers too, because it'll kind of change your perspective on, like, you talk about you have to work hard. There really is no overnight success. Even these people that are like savants, they've had these weird like paths that are very unique to them.
I don't want overnight success, because then that's how lottery people, that's another story.
Yeah, we already have. Thank you guys very much.
Yes.
Thank you for doing
podcast.
this, and hopefully we'll do it again someday.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. This episode of Somehow We're Adults is over, but if you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to one of the levels of the Patreon, where we will release bonus episodes that can't be found anywhere else. Any of the money that we get from the Patreon would be used to upgrade old equipment, as well as get new gear so that we can make the best podcast for you to tune into. You can also follow the podcast Instagram at Somehow We're Adults, where I share clips and content about the podcast, and the link in the bio will take you to any of the Somehow We're Adults pages. I encourage you to check out another one of the episodes if this is your first time listening, and if you're a repeat listener, thank you for your support. I love making the podcast, and I hope you tune in for future episodes of Somehow We're Adults.